11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And good evening. Welcome to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight or so and talk about guns. So got links out there on the Patreon so the Patreons can join. Nobody else was invited. We're about exactly 1 hour later than normal. All right, 1 hour and 10 minutes later than normal, but whatever. So I'll just share the screen here, and I think I'm going to go dig into Instagrams a little bit maybe. And we'll go see what's happening on Instagrams. But I figured we could make it a free-for-all, see what the people viewing the show tonight want to do. And then I'll take those suggestions and we'll chat a bit. So the week's almost over. This was the worst week ever, right? So looking forward to seeing what people are thinking out there. Maybe do a state and stress check. State in, and then what kind of stress levels are out there after a week of, I guess the determining week or whatever, the worst week ever. Or has that been postponed? Or do we have new projections? I am looking for something over here. I'm trying to talk and fiddle with my thumbs at the same time. Looks like Chris is back. Chris and Ozzy had some sort of crazy off-air war, and there was consequences. But now Chris is back, and Ozzy's out there also. Looks like everybody's, at least on the surface, everyone's acting like they're cordial. And then we got George, whoever that is, and then we got Ozzy again. Not working on any holsters tonight. Oh, I see. That's what happened, is when you were working on a holster, all that business happened. So let's see. I wanted to go in here and basically do this and this. All right. And then I'm just going to go over there and bring up Instagram, I think. I can remember where I put it. It's over here. Boom. Dog's looking at me funny. She's not happy. So we'll leave it like this so that we can flip back over here and see these comments. All right, so there's ours. We'll look at ours. We'll go, that's the wrong one. Let's go to the regular feed and see what's going on. I don't know about all this snitching thing. A lot of people complaining about snitching, but is there, I don't know of any snitching policies or anything. I don't know of any places where you're not allowed to go out. So Mike Sedini posted this thing. I thought this was pretty good. I think it's better. I've seen some posts from Lighthouse for the Blind where they put a clear window in the mask so that the person who's wearing the mask, you can still see their face, watch them smile or whatever, which is probably a good idea, right? But then for people that are deaf, being able to read lips, that would be better. But then this is, I guess, next best, and that's to use some Scotch tape to glue on a picture of yourself, I guess. I don't know why they would do, regular pictures are, square. And then there's rectangles for when people want to look at stuff with their two eyes next to each other, horizontally. And then there's people that want to screw with that on stupid Instagram and make it an up and down rectangle. And then there's these people who went out of their way to make some kind of effing widescreen up and down mode. I give a crap what the pocket on your shirt looks like, dude. Come on, give me a break. Look at this one. You can actually see her face, and you're not wasting your time with a bunch of extra garbage. What's wrong with these people that they want to clutter your brain with a bunch of extra garbage? This guy's face is 1/8 of that giant picture. This chick's face is maybe 1/3. Shame on you for using a long format, even if you are healthcare workers. Gary's been doing some series where I think he lays down on his kitchen table and then puts the camera on the ceiling. But pretty good. Just doing like talking about this and that. This dude posts a video. I don't usually watch video on YouTube on Instagram because I have to. This is Rebecca Schmo talking about, oh, probably because it's Easter, huh? Shit, so we got a lot of Easter stuff going on this weekend. This is Angry. All he ever does is post cars and workout stuff anymore. I don't know. Whoopsie daisy now. Card. I have no idea what this is. Somebody bought something at the Gear website store. You can use that as an opportunity to go talk about that. I guess we're technically still in business, right? So we have a store over here. There's different ways that you can pay rent and pay mortgage. And well, I guess you don't have to pay rent and mortgage unless you own a second home. But to pay mortgage and food and whatever, insurance and all that crap. And one way would be to sell out and to try to make you buy something. Let's say, some kind of crap or whatever. And then make all my videos about that crap. Or what we did is we just built a store. And every once in a while we bake something, or we have a bunch of like designs and stuff on t-shirts, kind of crap like that. And you can buy that. You get $5 basically every time you buy something. And eventually that adds up. But anyway, we appreciate that. So every Friday we encourage sales by having a free Patch Fridays off the store. And Chris, thank you. Just bought something over at the store, and it's AKpril. So maybe we'll have some sort of AKpril surprises. Maybe we won't. We'll see how many people buy stuff tonight. All right, so back over to here, gun owners. It's interesting. I don't know how many people watch feeds that are diverse, but yeah, it's different watching feeds from people that, let's say, have been in the military, or that are cops right now, or that are firearms instructors, or are catering to news shooters, or are petition shooters. There's a lot of different stuff out there, and some of the feeds are hard to describe, can be interesting sometimes. This one's pretty good, I guess. Liberty dropping the ball, I guess, getting all worried because we're losing our shit. I've seen this going around by all the sarcastics. Hope we get it down July 4th so we can celebrate our freedom. Let's see. Tactical influencers. So this guy is Gun Culture 2.0. He's trying to do a project to share the Second Amendment with people that are difficult to get Second Amendment info to. It says tactical influencers, 1 + 1 = 2. Fanboys, knowledge bomb, preach, brother. More people need to hear this. Everyone else, what the fuck? Okay. So I guess preaching to the choir, I guess only emphasizing what everybody already knows, or honing shit that is specialized knowledge. I'm not sure. Safety first, just kidding. Coffee first. Safety's like third or fourth. Gear reports, constantly putting out the memes. I guess that's an interesting way to keep people away from you if you're using a nasal canella. Tells this guy got a nasal tube going on. Wonder how much shit you would knock over with this contraption on your head. You would think you'd spend more time not knocking things off shelves. This is in some like Home Depot or something, right? Like if he walked past all these paint samples and knocked every one of them over, kind of a douche move is that. It's USN or Doc living in his camper. Is that dude posting a video again? There's some sort of 9mm filth. What the hell is this? This is, oh, it's like a Roni. Oh no, it's one of these things with the things closed. I guess that's what it is. It's Yancey. Let's see, this is Gear Report talking about something down here. I haven't been watching. Anybody been watching the Show Us Your Humvee series? That would probably be pretty interesting because there's the gambit from the Barbie Humvees to the, probably surplus arm Humvees. I wonder if he's going to do one of them Humvee limos where they put a whole bunch of them together. any of my special ops people out there seen this, done this? What are we doing? They're probably walking in between each other and shooting back across each other's shoulders. I don't know. People that never do nothing look at people that do stuff all the time and go, bring that little wimpy, backwards ass square range shit to it and then complain. I guess that's good. We will receive $12,000 or $1,200 during the crisis. And just like that, there were only 2 genders again. They cut off the top part of this. So if they want to be diversive, which trench works, I don't know. I like this guy, but he's definitely throwing shit out there just to be in whatever. You got to leave the top in where it goes every man or woman. And then it says we'll receive $1,200. And just like that, there were 2 genders again. Let's see. All that does is show the people who you're trying to, I guess, get mad that you don't understand their position. Like, here, I don't understand your position, but let me enrage you more. Just to be clear, none of this matters if there's a virus. I think that one's been going around. I like that one. I fell asleep at like 3 p.m. and woke up at like 9:30 p.m. So that's why I sound like I just woke up and I haven't been able to clear my throat or drink, I guess. So it feels like I don't feel bad. I just it's not clear. This video from Clash Wife, but I don't watch videos. If you're not shooting, you should be loading. If you're not loading, you should be moving. If you're not moving, somebody's going to cut your head off and put it on a stick. So again, depends on where your influence comes from, where your education comes from, what your scenarios are, and what your goals and objectives are, what your obligations are, what your rules of engagement are, and your area of operations and shit like that. So if you're dealing with, there are no consequences to bystanders or property, and that's one thing. Marines usually deal with that situation. So when you're learning from a Marine, keep that in mind and don't assume that everything they say is appropriate, designed to be appropriate for every second of everything. I have no idea what this is. Some kind of gadget that Clover's showing, and some kind of cheap ass shitty bag with a patch on it. I would much rather see these kind of things done with bags that are made in USA. You can tell by looking at this that this is not made in USA. But this is a good account. California EDC is always trying to do good stuff over there in California, and I guess they're giving away some kind of thing that says it's made in USA. I don't believe for a second that this bag is made in USA. Let's see, Battlefield Vegas, bunch of Garens and M2s laying on the ground. Kind of neat. I've talked to the gunsmiths for some of these rental places. That's going to be interesting when I can just go up there. When I can go up there and just hang out in Vegas again. Whenever I was coming back from gun rights, no, when was I coming back from? I was coming back from the 2A rally in DC. I went around and came back through Vegas, and I ran out of money before I needed to be back in Tucson. So I just hung out in Vegas and worked out of the van. And that was a great experience because I didn't have any hotel. I could move around, do what I wanted, and visit gun shops basically during the business hours and then work on projects during the night. I really like that. If I had a place to park in Vegas, I would go hang out in Vegas for weeks and months at a time. And I'd like to do that in California too, but definitely in Vegas, I'd like to go do that again and then hang out with just the rental shops that I went to before. And I mean, I don't know if I'll meet the same people. I know Machine Gun BB is still there, but some of the other businesses have literally changed hands and shit. But it would be cool to go up and talk to the gunsmiths because it's amazing how much ammo they go through and how many guns they go through. Like their guns have got to be a whole different breed. The military doesn't shoot guns like this. The military, you have a gun and it's a thing. You just buy another one. You just take another one off the shelf. Armorers, sometimes they fix stuff, but most of the time they just replace stuff and order more stuff. You don't fart around trying to fix a shit ton of rifles in the middle of a war. You just worry about that. You never worry about that, actually. That's not a thing you worry about. You worry about that in peacetime. So Battlefield Vegas, these other rental places, they're not like that. They don't have infinite funds so they can just throw a gun apart or away when it runs out. So they're rebuilding guns over and over and over and doing things to guns that you would have never done in the past based on the stupid legislation and now historical relevance of these pieces. Until somebody starts making new full autos again when we get rid of the NFA, you got to beat the shit out of old historic guns. It's another reason to get rid of the NFA. Snap, I never thought about that, but it's destroying our history. If we were able to make new Uzis and new M1 Grands or whatever, then, or not M1 Grands, that's a bad example, new M16s, then we wouldn't need to beat up or shoot out our old ones. Anyway, we need to talk to the gunsmiths, because it's, from what I've just scratched the surface on, it's a whole different evolution of guns. And without an NFA, that could develop insanely. You imagine? I mean, they go through, think about it, people walk into there in lines to shoot thousands of rounds. So people are walking in and they're shooting tens of thousands of rounds an hour sometimes. Amazing how much rounds are going through those things. If they could come up with a new type of ammo that didn't waste all that lead. Soldier Systems always doing stuff retro from the 80s and 70s. You know what? Oh, Katie did that magazine challenge. So that's probably some video there. There's Tex, the infamous using the internet to try to further people, and then people not getting it, and that becoming a whole cyclone. Let's see, local government shutdowns, fear of supply shortages, reduced police response, unemployment, and uncertainty has many questioning potential risks to their families. Celebrating anti-gun activities, nor politicians. Celebrity anti-gun activists nor politicians will be there to help you. I think Tony usually has a pretty good focus on it, different position from mine for sure. But then hopefully it's getting through to people now that they have a reason to listen. I don't know what this guy's doing. This guy's desperately trying to be, pissed. SoTech is an awesome company out of California, bunch of special operations veterans that put the company together. They hire veterans and they sell stuff in California, and it's legit, made in USA. So the opposite of garbage made in countries that aren't the USA. And they tooled up to make these masks. They're doing them in, looks like, multi-camp or in woodland. I don't know what that is. Urban woodland, tan, and then I can't tell what that is. But they had some other ones in uniform colors. So I'm guessing that they're probably making our guys and gals wear these masks in uniform now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a mask turn into issue gear, if we're going to make that a thing. Trying to drink coffee there. It should be getting better. Best thing to do is when you first wake up, do like a show where nobody joins you and you have to talk the whole damn time. Even though it's only on Patreon, 200 Patreons could join, but they're not, just because I'm an hour late. Let's see. I posted a picture on Instagram, hashtag at the Daily Gun Show. Back in the old days, we used to do the hashtag Daily Gun Show thing, and then people would use the hashtag and stuff. Let's see what happens when you do that. There's Ozzy posting some holsters there. It is 5,720 posts. So there's the recent ones, and then I guess there is only recent. Usually don't say, oh, top is this one. I don't even know who that is, but somebody with an old ass A2, I guess, A3. We'll just go this way until it's lame. So we got Ozzy just posted that one also, and with the hashtag. Can I just do this? Oh, I can't. Southern Yankee Guns. I don't know who this is. Somebody just trying to get fame and fortune on the Daily Gun Show. This is the one that you posted earlier from letting people know it's Free Patch Friday. Thanks for that. Chris out there, guy from Colorado, posting his walking or whatever, and he'll do these pictures with sort of a what do you call a feature of our Daily Gun Show hashtag thing. She's saying is making them too, but they're selling a shitload. Oh, you know it. They're doing a good job too. I think the trick is just getting some sort of a flexible piece of copper or something in there for the nose part. Because the rest of it's just sewing. They all know how to sew. They always get weird, like gangster shit going into our hashtag because of the gangsters that watch our shit. And then we got Chris bought a couple of the AK ID, AK-47 aircraft ID type deck. This was the artwork on the back of the deck. Most I was making some kind of thing. I guess he made it on graph paper and just something about the patterns. Maybe his color patterns kind of seem curvy. I think it's more square than it seems in the picture, though. Chris again posting that. I don't know if he takes like 6 guns with him or if he just walks a lot or what the deal is. Look at this, people trying to scam their product into here. So that's some kind of vice that lets you move your gun all around. Probably pretty handy. Chris again trying to get his gun all rusty by sticking it in the water. The problem with these is this slice down the side. Like, hey, let's have a solid gun. Oh no, let's cut a slice right into the chamber and put this loaded chamber indicator in there. That's what stupid laws do. Make you put big cuts in the side of your gun. Moon, always out there posting interesting pics, and I don't know what he's doing to this poor Glock, but there it is. He's got all that stuff on it, and then he took a picture of it. He does the same thing I do. I got one of these bamboo placemats. He probably did it first, and then I thought it was cool, so I went out and got some. My dollar store had them, though. I got a couple of black ones and a couple of different shades of green and tan. They were like $1, or they were 50 cents even. They weren't much. And they're pretty much big enough to do a picture like that, like 1 Glock or whatever. Maybe they're not quite big enough for 2 guns. They're placemats. Let's see. So then Patriot is posting this black and white one. Bunch of stuff. Always calling it his Apocalypse EDC. So that's interesting. I no longer believe long guns are relevant for EDC in an apocalypse scenario or whatever. But refuse to have the bullshit same conversation that I've been having for the last 15 years online that hasn't hardly developed. It'll develop a little bit and then everybody leaves the conversation. New people come along and the conversation repeats itself. It's like Groundhog's Day listening to people do survival shit. But in real life, you're all going to be going to concentration camps because not everybody's got the ability to book off into the mountains Red Dawn style. So that means most people are going to the camps, and that means you're not taking a rifle with you. So you can invest all kinds of time and effort into having a bunch of rifles, but more than likely, you're going to join your family at the concentration camp or whatever it's called. So you're probably going to want much more subtle stuff than some of this old-fashioned 1990s buy a bunker and here's your list of stuff type of things. I'm not bitching about Patriot doing the project because everybody does that kind of stuff, but I would like to have a discussion with real people that have been maybe to Venezuela or South America, one of those countries in Europe that have actually seen shit. And let's talk about what it's like to have to live in a camp or how to get your family through a camp, because you can't just wish your kids into being able to climb cliffs and jump over waterfalls and shit to get away from bad guys running with dogs. I've watched a lot of movies lately. Nobody's saying anything. Might as well wrap the show up. Only got 13 viewers. No obligation to keep going. We only have 13 viewers. Oh, now 12 viewers. People got mad that I said they're apocalypse GDCs. Fictitious. People don't like hearing the truth. Then we got DTP posting this one. It's actually pretty neat to see a little tiny optic and a little tiny light on a little tiny gun. Then you got the longest little tiny light in the world. I guess that works. So is that his picture, I guess? A Sunday EDC. So I guess he walks around with these shoes that look like socks or whatever. Let's see. So I don't know. I don't know if I would do all this business on there. To me, I got to look so far down. It seems like I'm shooting people in the feet whenever I have to look through one of these things. But I don't own them, so I guess maybe it'd be different if I shot them all the time. I am pretty sure that's the gun we did a cartoon of the other day. Here's Muscle Dog talking about, found out about the, okay, I'm sure many of you out there, for some of you out there, I am sure have only recently found out about the Forum 4473. And the post is just a big picture of a blank 4473. Now that you have seen one and have gone through the process, for many you have been delayed indefinitely or stuck in line because of the waiting periods, you can see about adding more background checks, as you have learned in gun shops. So he's basically telling people about the making them reflect, I guess, or asking them to reflect on their experience based on their well, they probably didn't urge anybody to do anything. They probably were just told to say something and they said it. Now hopefully they'll think about what they're going to petition for in the future. I'm going to brush over this one because Moon can't get enough Bretta's out there. He's definitely pushing the Bretta agenda. Texas Pro 2A guy. This guy used to hang out on chats back in the day. And does he use the hashtags gun channels? He used to be a gun channels member. But I guess I could say there's been a lot of gun channels members. We'll scroll through here and see where the heck we were, because I just clicked off of it here. And I don't know if I were going to go through all this. Never shoot mountains just for the hell of it. Here's the problem. You shoot a mountain like this, sure, that mountain deserves it, and you're going to feel a little bit better. But what could happen is that bullet could hit some snow over here, and then that snow could start falling in an avalanche. A bunch of people could be down here minding their business, and you could kill them all. So don't shoot into mountains, even though they deserve it. This is the kind of stuff that happens when you're locked down. DTP, buying some stuff from the store and posting it. Thank you for that. And Chucker, who was in we had a live chat for like 5.5 hours earlier today. I was working on a project and went live and sent the link out to Patreons, same as I did tonight. And people would kind of come in and leave and hang out. We were listening to Jericho. So I've been listening. I think I'm on episode 17 out of 22 of Jericho's. So that's pretty much all I've been doing since yesterday, is listening to Jericho shows and working on a project. So Trucker was one of the people that jumped in to that. There's another picture of that gun that I did the thing of. It is Free Patch Friday, so that's appropriate. Another gun shop trying to ride the daily gun show train. Crew Shank from March. Another Free Patch Friday thing. Wilson Dog trying to set a flag on fire. I don't know what he's trying to do here. Shoot a flag. What's going on? Guns are the leading cause of avalanches. I don't know. Yeah, I had to do one on the computer. Last time I did 4473, it was a paper form. It's been a while since I bought a firearm from a gun shop. So I don't think I've ever done an electric 4473. I've seen people do them, but I've never done one. So I've not gone electric or whatever that's called. I don't remember last time I bought a gun either. I don't know if I'd want to do an electric 4473. For some reason, I think I remember buying some gun that was not that important to me. And the guy said, okay, here you go, fill this out. And I said, nope. And I just didn't buy the gun because I didn't feel like filling out an electronic one. And part of it is because I don't like the idea of making the 4473s easier. I don't like the idea of making the ATF or the FBI their job any easier. I don't want any of that. I want that to be difficult, and I want them to remove it. I don't think this is a necessary thing, and I don't want to facilitate it. I'd rather it go the other way and be removed instead of being made more convenient. This was from a couple weeks ago when I had some stuff on eBay. I didn't do it, but I plan to spend a whole day this week working on eBay, and I will be for sure because I don't know about you, but on my eBay account, they gave me 200 listings for free this month. So I'm going to take them up on that, and I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of stuff on eBay. And as the pandemic winds down, hopefully people will start getting their communist checks and spending it on eBay. And then I can make some capitalist money selling off some of my loot. This is DTP. He's always showing off that orange knife over here. So here's the deal. Orange is a good color and everything, but in a plastic, especially spider cloth plastic, there's articles about this. This leaches a poison, and it doesn't just leach it into your skin, but in the whole environment. So just like the coronavirus, this orange plastic is leaking all onto your gun, and look, it's already coated that whole black flashlight with the orange cooties. And what'll happen is eventually it's like Cheetos dust, except cancerous. So you're going to get this cancerous Cheetos dust all over, and everything will start being orange all the time. At first it'll be kind of funny. Oh, look at your fingers are orange. But then after a while, it's like you're going to lose your job, and your family gets all stressed out. It's be a real hassle. So best thing you can probably do is send these to Tucson. For some reason, the environment here in Tucson, the dry air or whatever it is, doesn't allow that to happen. So they're perfectly safe here in Tucson. But the rest of the country, you shouldn't own this kind of orange plastic handled Mannix 2 from Spyderco. It's dangerous. So they can be sent to Tucson safely. And we do have places where we have pockets where they'll live their lives out in happiness, poking things and opening boxes and shit like that. It's because we care. It's because we care. We got Gary poking a wall. That's pretty much what he did at SHOT Show. He went around poking things. Let's see. There's some kind of engraved gun. Somebody sitting there with a little puppy. Stick his tongue out. That's the alien. Take a look at the alien. I think that gun cost $5,000. I like this the first time I seen it. I'll click on this video. But these are these like fans that have LEDs on them. Now look that you can keep. The Mannix 2 are the only deadly ones. Something about the awesome ass auto access or the access lock on there. Are you kidding me? This is what they chose to do? All the cool stuff they can do, and they just made some smoke happen in colors. Doesn't even talk about what they're doing. At least this, you see their product. You know how Trigicon is? We're like them, only we don't have an R&D department. What we do is backwards engineer. That's why it's cheaper. Oh, look, he's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. This is because they knew Corona was coming. Like, yeah, you're happy. You go out in public, put back your Corona mask. Okay, good. So he took a bunch of pictures of the different ones. So basically, somebody figured out if you take a fan and you put LED lights on it, you can make magic. And that's what you got going on here. And they look crazy. It looks like you're walking around some kind of Star Wars bar. SHOT Show nowadays. It's like a European thing. A lot of the Europe product companies will have these. Oh, snap. Did you see that? That had video in it. Oh, man, I bet you that one was cool. I didn't even go buy that one. I didn't know about it. Dang, that one had a movie going on. I bet you that one was cool. In real life, you wouldn't see those those lines. That's because of the camera or something. That's pretty cool. Let's see. So these are all people using that hashtag. Oh, here's a good one. Pink taking a picture of Place in Prescott making crazy. I thought these were cool swords, but it turns out they're little fantasy dragon cutouts on them. Dumb. So I guess that's it. We're clicking on this. That's Bloke and Gizzard. Is this a minigun? This looks like a tiny gun to me. Yeah, this is probably it. Oh, that was a SHOT Show? Dang it. I don't ever walk through the Europe aisles. I guess I miss out when I don't walk through Europe. All right, so I guess with that, we'll close out of that. Daily Gun Show hashtag. That was a bunch of stuff over there. Did you say you just posted one, Chris? You talking about that Marilla one or some different one? What are we talking about? Oh, the Clash Patch Batch? Yeah, good. So, let's see. Doesn't stain your soul. It's just that it happens to be something about the plastic in those Mannix 2s. That's the one. Oh, let's see. Sportsman's is sending out all kinds of masks. Thank you for that. Sportsman's a good company. M13 making some kind of, I don't know what that is, thing. I don't know what's going on with Yankee. Oh, he's got some kind of werewolf thing in there. I believe in the Second Amendment, but nobody says you can have a magazine with 100 clips in it. All right. Got some kind of piece of wood stick for the lower. Yep. So Maj is over there getting pissed. I don't know if he's doing the best as how many people follow Maj, or he pretty much just does everything here and on Black Guns Matter. So if you follow Black Guns Matter, it's probably the same feed. But this is too long. I ain't clicking all that shit. But I like his position. He may not have been right. He could have just as easily been wrong. But at least he wasn't willing to just immediately buy whatever the hell they're selling. What do you think of these little cricket marksman looking guns? I don't know why people aren't modifying these more. What these should be like the soapbox derby. These should be the what's the other thing called? Well, I guess it was called the soapbox derby. No, soapboxes are the big ones, right? Or no, soapbox is a little car, and what do they call the ones where you actually go in and drive down the hill? Anyway, these should be the father, or mother, son, father, daughter projects that you modify with your kid. Paint that thing. Look at that. It's nothing but paint potential. There's almost nothing you can do to break them. They got like 3 parts on them, so you could modify so much of that thing with your kid. People shouldn't fear the government. The government should fear the people. Yeah, I like it, except I don't like it when people quote stupid ass movies. KD is posting stuff all the time. I think that's his kid. Serbu posting something about trigger guards, mag housings he's building over there. Guns and gadgets. I think that's 80%er. I don't know. Got some sort of. I feel like I should be wearing one of these masks. I'm super dried out today. In this suit and doing, all you do is you pee in there, and then walking around makes your pee go all around, and then your suit filters it, and then you just drink it. So you walk around, and that pumps the pee up into your mouth, and you drink your pee. But it's filtered somehow also. But you're on so much spice that you don't care. Let's see, gun policy, Republican-backed gun registry, HR 5917. What's all this about? 2 turncoat Republicans are secretly colluding with Democrats to enact a national electronic gun registry. Take action now to stop them. Stop gun registry. That's probably a great idea. Try to shove a registry down everybody's throat, right? I want one of those precision crickets. Who wouldn't? Or make your own, right? Like there should be, like the cricket costs $125 retail, doesn't it? So why isn't people making aftermarket stocks for that? Crazy? Are they crazy? No, I'm fine. I just woke up a minute ago, and then immediately I woke up, I pushed the dog outside, shook her until she peed, and then I came in here and turned the chat on because I was late, because I care that much. Like I said, I fell asleep at like 3 p.m., woke up at like 9 p.m. So I just barely woke up and started the show. It is now 10:48. We've been live for 38. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up. What's all this about? Gun ban reversed. I don't know. I like the Minnesota Gun Caucus. I don't like every one of their posts. Every once in a while, one of their posts quotes an anti-gun prohibitionist, basically, and it almost looks like if you didn't know who was posting it, like it's promoting their message. So sometimes I don't like their posts. Gulf cartel handing out supplies during the COVID. So that's one of the things that the cartels do is they punch and tickle or whatever that's called. So they'll help out and they'll kill you. So they'll kill people that they feel like, and then help the ones that they didn't kill, so that they gain the loyalty of the people that they didn't kill. That would be a fun life to live. Having a bunch of cartels to have to deal with, and then the government. I don't know what I think about these quick detach cans. And I guess the deal is here they have front sights on them. I don't think I like that. I don't think that's necessary. What do you think? Can incorporation into your sight picture, or just deal with it? We just shot sights right through the cans. We just would aim right through the cans, and guess what? That works. I'll still like it because I like Capital Army. It's a cool shop in Austin, Texas, just outside of Austin. as you go up into the foothills from Austin. That's where that shop is. In range is Mike Friend. He's in Tulsa, just outside of Tulsa. And he's been making authentic milled receivers. Well, he's the guy that did all the work on making milled receivers in the United States. Everybody else just copied off of him. And now he's doing, I don't know what this thing would be called, some sort of a brace that has a milled out, skeletonized, I guess you'd call it. Looks like a pretty substantial brace on a little Draco, I guess. A mini pistol for hip firing. Customer did not like the look of the no rear sight. I told him it would not sight correctly. He didn't care. So, I guess he didn't like the no rear sight, so he put this little tiny sight radius in there. I got guns with sight radiuses that big, and I can still hit what I'm aiming at with them. There's Skip, constantly pushing the Springfield. She likes a lot of stuff, though. Then I was like, Mom, chill out. That's Jesus thing. Most stolen car in the country.
Camrys get stolen, and it is the most stolen car in the country. This is really sad how it says actually. Watch this. You just stick that in there, you drill it out. You'll have the pin pop out. Take your ignition, you take it out, pocket pliers, and you literally turn it.
Huh. So that's how you can grab a Camry.
It's stolen. It is the most stolen car in the country.
It's always neat to follow channels that give you little tidbits like that. And then you get stuff like this. It's just farting around. Talking about some kind of rear sight for a shotgun, maybe. I don't know what that is. Something about au gratin potatoes. Who's down for some au gratin potatoes? I'm trying to think the last time I ate an au gratin potato. I can't remember. The last time I ate one of these. I guess I don't like them. I don't like them that much, at least. Is today Good Friday? Is that why nobody's showing up? I'm going to blame Good Friday for the attendance tonight. Not the fact that I'm an hour late and then the show's pretty shitty. This guy's interesting. This guy is the dude from Tulsa that cuts out books and stuff. He cuts this wood out of his backyard and then planes it all down and then makes these clocks out of it. And I think he sends these faces off to be lasered, or else he has the laser. But then he went through all this stuff. I've been watching his channel. He went through all this stuff getting ready for Tulsa with these new clocks. And then Tulsa didn't happen. I didn't realize they were $77. You think that's a deal for $77? I don't know. I don't think it's a deal. But obviously they've got a gun in them. The thing is, he's competing with some garbage from China. But, he's over here making each one. But I tell you what, like whatever the hell I would have to hide a gun in ain't going to work in my grandma's kitchen. That might work in your grandma's kitchen. Clover shooting something. Pennsylvania gun rights. So they talking about good news for the Pennsylvania, which would have put undue restrictions on ammunition. Everybody's having fights and winning them and losing them, and we're all just oblivious because it's all just noise. There's too much stuff happening, and we're sharing it in platforms that have other stuff happening that are either more precedent, more important. They're certainly going to be pushed more by the platform themselves. And it's got to be frustrating. How many times, I don't know how long you've been in the game, but how often, think about how long you've been in the game and how many people petitioning for not just firearms rights, but for anything. How long people stick around doing it. There's not that many people that are interested in sticking things up there and not get a lot of feedback from it. This one has quite a few, but this is a state level organization. I think that's a factor. Having something that allows us to archive could go a long way towards motivating people to continue to work instead of getting frustrated or losing their ambition or momentum at some point and then eventually stopping. And then when you stop, how often do you archive what you did and leave it as a motivational lesson to the next rarely, right? Usually you just fail and it disappears, and then it's up to somebody to try to discover what happened to the old. Let's see. Georgia Carey filed suit against governor for inability to obtain a Georgia weapon license, maybe. So, awesome. All kinds of lawsuits are going to be happening. And that's going to be critical for the after, because there's going to be all these organizations with their hands out, and everybody's going to be, having multiple options of what to do with their resources. And I don't know. I think if we just keep throwing money at these organizations and don't hold them accountable, we run into the potential for more NRAs. At some point, we have to say, hey, thank you for doing all this stuff. And it's great that you post stuff on social, but let's see some expense reports. They're going to take in, for some of them, tens of millions of dollars a year. And some of them successfully use that money to lobby. But if they're not, then how many bottomless pits do we want with 3-letter numbers and or 3-letter names on them? Let's see. All kinds of horrible shit happening during the thing. You imagine? So this is Guns for Everyone, is the gun shop in Colorado. Edgar and his wife. Not gun related. Can you imagine if we as a nation had an option? Lower the risk of vulnerable people getting sick or prevent an increase in physical abuse? Flatten the curve or stop the increase? I don't know what that means. I don't know. They get mad when they look at the craziness, I guess. So is that enough PSLs for you? Or those are SVDs. I'm saying PSL. Yeah, fucking Canada. They can just buy stuff that we can't buy necessarily. I don't know. They're neat, but once you get into them, goodbye money. There's a lot of money to be spent on those guns, and there's no end of them. If you have access to them, there's no end. This is some stuff about counterterrorism. Little dog license plate. I've never seen that before. This is Ace, and this is a shop in Houston. The dude that hangs out with Ace goes to that shop all the time. So I follow that dog's feed. That's nice. Modified bayonet, all whittled down. Interesting. So they put a little different cut at the end there. I guess they painted it. It's hard to see what the hell happened to that bayonet. They did something to it. Oh, that's that sniper hide. There's Chris. Did we ever see that picture? So this is a gun shop in California. Don't need to watch that. Oh, snap. Somebody else bought something. Is that 3 purchases at the store today? Holy shit. I do appreciate it. Obviously, it's not an easy time to be making purchase decisions because the world's about to end or something. But and even if it doesn't, we're about to run into some kind of crazy financial stuff more than likely. Is this one of them knee cannons or whatever? The British Patriot. I don't know if I remember that this is. Is that like a knee mortar or is it something else? I don't remember seeing a giant spring in a mortar before. And looking through a bunch of other ones as I scroll through here. Well, that's kind of nice to see. So that's a 9, I think. But a nice little, that's probably airsoft or something. That's so nice looking with the stock. It would have to be full auto. I don't think they can own that kind of stuff in Canada, so I don't know. Oh, Airsoft Depot. Yeah, it's airsoft. It looks too clean to be new. And the pins and stuff on a real one almost are always all weird and wrong. Like the pins fell out and they replaced them at some point. And when you're shooting a real one, you don't care. So they almost always look goofy in the pins. There's a little doll. See, that's a whole different kind of doll than Matt even plays with. So this is a whole different type of doll for people. KD's been doing a lot of live chats on the Instagram. I watch almost 0 live chats on Instagram. I wonder what this is all about. I haven't seen this one from Guns and Gadgets. It looks like Texas is going to be the target of the gun prohibitionists. Oh, what's this all about? World War II recognition training slides from our collection. Something's off with this set. Can you spot it? So let's see. We got the Liberator. We got the Liberator. And we got something else. What's off on this? I don't know. It's kind of neat though. There's a display over there inside the Pima Air Museum. There's another museum, the 270th Bomber Wing or something has a museum there. And inside of that museum, there's a display that talks about the evolution of plastic models and aircraft recognition playing cards, and how those developed from basically the same thing, which is they used to make little models of the different planes that the enemy would use so that you could see, and it would just be a model painted black. So it wasn't like a detailed model. It was just a model to show the silhouette. So you could see that thing from all different angles, I suspect. And that was something that they had to help the war effort. A bunch of people helped make those models, and that created, or at least helped create or created, I'm not sure, the whole hobby of miniature model making, especially war stuff. And then the aircraft identification card, same kind of purpose. And it talked about how that was an offshoot or evolution of that, if I remember right. And then the cards, of course, turned into playing cards because people were bored having a bunch of cards that might as well have been playing cards. They figured out, I think, if you play cards with them, you start to learn through osmosis what those planes look like. Yeah, I got a bad feed. I should go in and like edit my feed up a little bit. Some of this stuff, I just, I don't know why I follow it. Some of these rifles and things. Woolarock's been doing some interesting stuff. They're interesting anyway, but them and some of the museums, their security guards are running their pictures, their Instagrams. So they're getting pictures of stuff that normally the 20-year-old girls that run Instagrams don't take pictures of. It's kind of interesting. Here's something I haven't seen, and maybe it's because of the feeds I follow, but I'm not seeing a bunch of people sitting around being drunk this whole time during the crisis. They're not just wasting their lives, blotto. But I also am not seeing a bunch of projects. How cool would it be if I was cycling through here and it's like, hey, here we came up, we brainstormed a new idea, we brainstormed a new project, here's a new project. Unfortunately, here is somebody doing that, but they're in like Poland or whatever they are. So this is, they call LEDs torches over there. So I'd look at their LED torch shell for a grenade launcher. So this is the people that made that little multi-tool that looks like an AR-15. And this is a laser for it that looks, I guess, like a, or it's going to fit in there like a grenade in their grenade launcher. Looks like all kinds of people are showing up. I should probably look over here more. Let's see, where are we at? Considering the political environment, people should only have to go to war guns. That said, oh wait, you're asking an actual question here. Hold on, let me open up this picture. So we got something on the screen. Oh, it couldn't be any smaller. Considering the political environment, should people only have go to war guns? That said, is there a gun that you couldn't go to war with? In the current political environment, you're about to get rounded up and told to live at a camp. You're not going to need a go to war gun because you'll be killed trying to take that into a camp. I would recommend having ways to protect yourself that don't rely on firearms, wits, and skill sets, and mindset that allows you to operate whether or not you have a bunch of stuff in your hands or not. But those would be some interesting conversations to have. Go to war guns. I don't know what you're talking about. An M16, AR-15. I think that's in this country, that's the number one. Anybody who's going to veer from that isn't paying attention. But nah. And ideally, you're going to know how to work guns that you're going to pick up. So you're not going to be picking up a goofy double action, single action, delicate, never been in the sand, can't get scratched, garbage, junk. You're not going to, most people aren't going to be picking that crap up. It's going to be laying all around, but you're going to know to pick up something that just works. So that's my point on it. That said, is there a gun you couldn't go to war with? No, you go to war with your brain and some wits. Evening. Revolvers and oddball caliber lever actions, not go to war guns. I don't know. Like I say, I wouldn't take a lever, not even a mare's leg. Probably looking at J-frames, and that's about it. J-frames are going to win the war. Small 22 revolvers going to win the wars, future wars. Pen guns. I think a shop locally sells the basic blued wood cricket for 110 on a special. And the other thing is, people buy those things for their kids, and they're only a single shot gun. So some kids are going to like it and appreciate it, but other kids are going to go, next, what's the next gun that's good? And they're going to not care so much about that one. Or you'd be able to buy it for a kid who doesn't like it at all. In that case, you might just turn that thing around and sell it for even less, right? So you might get that thing for under 100, ideally, used. And it's not like a kid's ever going to put any real work. A single shot 22, how much wear and tear can it ever get, really? I mean, I'd beat mine up a little bit. Get a room. Is that a little folding 9mm? Probably was. There's Dead Horse out there. Welcome. Yeah, you don't want to go to war with a 9mm. Unless you're going to war with ants or grubs, like something that can't get away really fast and has a soft, moist skin, like a grub. That's something that you could go to war with. And World War I. And then there is armament. So somebody jumped in here. I don't know who it is, so we'll see if they say who they are. But I'm not just going to... Nice thing about the duck is I don't just have to let anybody in here. So we'll see who they are. But with that, we're almost an hour in. So we did get somebody to jump in here. And if they say who they are or whatever, figure out who they are, they'll jump in. Otherwise, we've been looking at Instagram for a long time. And we're an hour late, so there's no rules. We'll do what we want. So there's 14 people watching, a couple people jumping in here towards the last little bit. So if you've got ideas or suggestions for what to do, feel free. Whoever this person is that's in here, there's this private chat. And you can type in here like this. Then to me, and then I can decide if you're going to jump into the chat or not. But otherwise, the duck gives us a green room where they're hiding it. Let's see. Would being owed a few favors by a team of somewhat lesbian vampires help? And what is the correct name for an alliance of female vampires? Yeah, I don't know. One time Matt had a chat and they were all being boring and talking about vampire movies. I don't know about you, but I could care less about vampire movies. So I went online and typed in lesbian vampires and just read off the funniest of the results that came up. And there must be something about lesbians and vampires because there's a shit ton of lesbian vampire movies. So anyway, yeah, I really don't care. Lesbians are cool, but I don't really like vampires, so I don't get that running joke. But having a few favors by people, I don't even know if that's worthwhile. I think having done favors for people is probably useful because you've gained life experience and stuff. But now that person is in here twice, so coming in here twice doesn't. I think I hear them echoing. I don't know what that means. Is that you in here? I'm in here. Who is this?
My name is John. I had my mic turned off, so I don't think it was me echoing.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that you're not in here. So what's your deal? Who are you? You've been in a chat before?
No, this is the first time. New patron. Right. Just got the email about the going live more often. Figured I'd come check it out. Okay, cool. Yeah, right on. I just didn't recognize the thing. So the way that this duck works is you're not doing anything. I don't think that's showing anybody anything. He jumped in down here and it just said burger without a thing.
like an icon. So if you want, you can click this little X thingy here, or this little box thingy, and that's how you get a picture into your icon. But that just indicated that it was somebody who hadn't jumped into one of these before, because once you've done that once, El Pato, the duck, remembers where that picture is and just always puts that picture in there for you. But anyway, so then I use the side chat over here. So over here, there's a side chat, and that's where you can type stuff. You're not seeing this. We're on a computer. I just showed everybody the side chat, and then I'm going to go shove this back over here. So anyway, I did post over on Patreon before the show went live, this show, the link to the show. So if you're a Patreon, you want to jump in, feel free. And earlier today, I did the same thing. Went live for about like 5 hours working on a project, and it was off air. We went on live, well, I guess you could say live, but not for streaming. We went live on the GunTube, and then I've been listening to Jericho show. So we probably listened to like 5 hours of Jericho live earlier today. And then I fell asleep for a while. Then I woke up and we're live again. So pretty much just been live all day. So where part of the country are you in?
Pennsylvania.
Right on. How is the stress level? Are you out? Are you essential, or are you on vacation?
I'm legally blind. I've been this way for about 2 years, so just do a lot of chilling out at home. So as far as the quarantine goes, not much difference for myself.
Okay, well, whatever. So your routine, maybe not big difference, but as far as like interfacing with people and knowing people over the years and being able to gauge their stress level from that angle, what kind of stress level, scale, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where would it be in like a normal before times, and then where is it today? Because sometimes people say, "Oh, stress level 7," but then we probe them and they go, "Oh, it's normally 5," so it's just up a little bit. It's not like it's normally 3 and it went up to 7. So if you just with people obviously you can't know what you don't.
Yeah, so everybody that I can tell, not really stressed out by it at all. You got the people that are real worried that it's going to spread and things are going to get worse. But overall, the most of the people I talk to think it's a bunch of BS.
Right on. So, so are they like not concerned because they think it's not dangerous, and it's like a deception? Because that could be a little bit frustrating for people that are super concerned, because then they think that you're not taking it seriously. Or is it just that they think, because I guess there's some medium or some third option where you're just looking at the whole thing and thinking that it's being overplayed for what it is? I think that's what most people default to, something in the middle there.
I believe it's the latter. A lot of the people think it's, at least the people I've been talking to, believe it's overblown by the media. Not necessarily that they don't think it's something to take serious, just the hysteria being caused by the media is, as you said, overblowing it.
Right on. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just curious when people jump in, especially when you have more of an opportunity to say what the deal is instead of just trying to type it out there. All right, cool. So that's something I think that we are going to see too going forward. Well, it will happen. It'll be interesting to see to what level or extent it happens. But whatever craziness they're doing, there's people that are exploiting this, and the consequences, or how we hold them to it, or how much interest there is in the future, how well people are able to bring, I don't know how to say, like how well people are able to focus on what happened during this time. In other words, if the economy completely fails, it's going to be tough to worry about gun rights to some people. They're going to go, "Oh, you're petty, you're talking about stuff that don't matter, we're worried about our jobs." Or if the economy does great, for some reason, some unforeseen thing that the media refuses to focus on now happens, and there's some sort of a benefit from all of this, and we come out like stronger as a country and as a world, and there's some new development and stuff, then we don't have to worry about pandemics again or something. So there's like some development where we're just going and fast forward. Might be the same thing, like, hey, let's take a second and talk about the martial laws and the infringements. People might not want to talk about that kind of boring stuff again either. So I think it'd be cool. I'd like to think that there's a bunch of Pro 2A people out there coming up with new, interesting arguments and ways to present the situations now. Because if we just come out of this with the same old bunch of people stomping and our feet on the ground and holding our breath because people don't, have the same opinion of freedom as we do, that's not going to work. It didn't work ever, and just because we have a bunch of stuff to point at, if our method of delivery is to stand there like a bunch of kids with our holding our breath and pointing at the infringements, they're going to ignore us the same way they've ignored us for decades. I'm hoping that we're going to come out of this not just with new stuff to point at, but new ways to point at it. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So let's see. I've been attempting to say what. So we've got this Duck is the platform that we're using, like the system that we're using. It lets people jump in, and when you jump in, you're in like a green room. So when you were talking, it wasn't that your mic wasn't working; it was that you didn't realize you're in like a green room, like an off-air area. And I can see you on my screen, but I don't even think I get alerted. Like I just have to visually see you on my screen. And since I've been looking at my second monitor, I didn't even see that you were over there at first. And then when you did jump in, I didn't recognize the name, right? So that's when I started saying like, hey, somebody jumped in here and I don't know who it is. So you might have been talking or responding to me, but since you're not in the chat, I haven't let you in yet. I don't get to hear you, which is a weird way that their thing is set up. But on the screen here, I've been kind of showing two things: my Instagram feed on the right side, and then on the left side is the chat that people are using right now, the text chat that people are using to communicate with the show out on the YouTube side. Got the hiccups. So I've been attempting to read the comments, but I don't think I've been attributing them every time to the people that have been saying them. But since we've got more people out there and more stuff, we've got to jump in comments. So I'm going to start trying to attribute who said them. So Armament is asking, did we talk about new laws passed in Virginia? No, we haven't really talked about anything. We've just been following an Instagram feed and riffing off of that. So I don't know what new laws were passed in Virginia that you're talking about. Guy is saying, not to mention they could declare favor bankruptcy. Oh, you're talking when see, that's difficult. Probably comment has happened at 11:11 and we're 11:17, so that's 6 minutes ago. That's not too bad, but still, I guess that's, what do they say? Something about times that try men's souls or something. Like there's something about testing friendships or some saying like that too. So hopefully this just isn't a dangerous stress test or an objectionable stress test, but I think it's already been a stress test on some relationships, friendships, whatever, working relationships, things like that, right? Just in the little bit we've dealt with. I mean, it's not diminishing the amount of effort people have put into this, but I'm just saying this isn't like a meteor hitting the earth and we have no choice but to deal with the new. This is going to be something that looks like it's something that we're all going to live through. For the most of us are going to live through. That's a bad choice of words. That we're all going to get through. And whether or not it has an echo on the future is, I have not been convinced that we're going to see this change everything, our way of doing life, way of living life or anything. Maybe that's a topic. Armament keeps asking me if I'm in AZ. I don't know if you think like I'm on the road, but number one, we can't travel. I'm not a trucker, so I don't get to drive around. But yeah, I don't have the finances to move from AZ. I don't have any inclination to move from AZ. And I'm not on the road on traveling, no. So you keep asking me in these different shows. I know that sometimes I'm on the road, but I usually make a big stink about it when I'm on the road because it's so fun. I am not on the road. I'm in Arizona. What's this? 6.5. Oh, is that the stress level? And so Chris is saying the stress level in Kentucky is 6.5. What would be like the mean? What's the normal stress level? So Armament's still where he's at. Yeah, well, we don't change time, so we're actually in Pacific time zone right now. So for me, it is only 11 o'clock, 11:20. For y'all, sometimes it would be 12:20 for me right now. You guys don't. You guys do change, but we actually have to change our lives around it. You guys just change your clocks. Armament is saying this is all overhyped. I think so, but again, we're going to have to deal with consequences of, just because somebody didn't need to be scared. If they got scared and did something, we still got to deal with the consequences of what they did, or in this case, didn't do. And feel free. You said Burger. Is that the name you wanted on the screen?
Yeah, it's just my last name.
But I don't know how you want people calling you, but feel free to jump in. I don't know how long you've been listening. You mentioned you just found the place and found the Patreon thing. How long you been listening to the show, or have you been listening to the show ever?
Started listening to Yankee several years ago. That's how I found you and Never Enough Ammo and the gun websites channel and all that. Then finally started getting finances and whatnot squared away after I had some brain surgeries and whatnot. So like I said, started getting the finances squared away and stuff, and became a patron and stuff recently. So I'd say I've been listening for a couple years probably.
Oh, right on. Appreciate it for sure. And it's interesting always to hear the background to that. So yeah, this show's kind of a mess. And tonight I just sort of let a link out there in Patreon, and it's late, so I don't know how many people are even awake, but we'll just see what happens. So now Pink is in the background. Bring him into the show. And are you working, or are you off tonight?
No, I was off tonight.
Right on. So let's see. Dead Horse is saying this is an attempt from China to squash public rebellion, and it got out of hand. So that's an interesting take too. And I haven't really been doing much following like any of the. Well, I did. There hasn't been much presented, but I haven't been following too many like conspiracy theories or whatever you want to call it, like conspiracy theory type of stuff about this one. But that's because of that, whatever the Art Bell show in the middle of the night hasn't been talking about that stuff so much. They've been, focusing more on just plain old vampires and werewolves kind of stuff that they normally talk about, or more, I guess, less conspiracy theory stuff and more real news type of stuff about this Corona thing. But I don't know. Has anybody heard, or anybody else have any thoughts on it being a sort of an engineered thing in China that was supposed to be national for China, but then it got out of hand? Any points on that one?
I was actually talking to my uncle actually just tonight, and he had mentioned that how convenient that there was all these protesters and whatnot in Hong Kong, and then all of a sudden this coronavirus comes out and they disappear, which I told him, you could say that they did that, but I'm pretty sure if I was in China right now, I'd be shutting myself in too. I probably wouldn't be going out and protesting too many things at the moment.
Yeah, it's like hindsight, right? Like, how do you interpret what? First, you got to interpret what happened, and then you got to figure out why it happened. So,
Exactly.
and we got it so out of hand there, like, because we have to get the information from somewhere, and who knows how that's been filtered or whatever influenced. But when I think what you just said here, I almost thought you were going to say my thing, which is I've been saying this 2020 turned out to be the year. It was going to turn out to be the year of the 2A rally, like never before. Like never before people were interested in outdoing the last rallies or showing you how it could be done, or participating in what would hopefully be the bigger and better one. They were being creative. Things like Gunathon, things like Red October weren't. Well, Gunathon is more of a rally angle, but Gunathon is more of a rally angle. Red October was more of like a mixing a competition shoot with a gun show. But at the end of a year like this, if everything would have gone according to plan, and we'd be at this point dozens of rallies deep. I mean, not just like a couple of state rallies, but dozens of rallies deep. Some states like Virginia having multiple rallies. We would have had such awareness and such unity that we would have never had before. Never. And I'm not getting, nobody's paying attention. There's 14 people are watching, so I'm just going to keep saying it. I mean, this is stuff I've been watching for a long time, not intentionally, but I've been aware a long time. And now that I'm putting two and two together, the amount of potential we had this year was unprecedented. And there couldn't have been a better way to just kill it, just extinguish that spark completely in such a way that it doesn't even look like the spark was extinguished. It looks like there was a flood in town. And who cares about your candle? Everybody's candles went out. Nobody was looking at you. You know, it wasn't directed at you. You just happened to be one of the victims. But dang, it sucks. Like, we had such potential. But the good news is I don't think all those people perish from the flu. And I don't think they decide that there's other things to do instead. I think that 21 becomes the year of the rally, and hopefully in such a new way with invigorated vigor. I don't know what the word would be, like, you know, because people haven't been able to hang out for a while. We can, when we get past this and we figure out how to hang out again, people are going to want to hang out, and now they got a massive reason. Not only were they infringed a little bit before, but we've seen them. Like, it just isn't hypothetical potential what ifs. Now we've seen what they do and what they want to do in times of crisis. So although it's been frustrating for this year, I guess it's just pushing it off a year. But yeah, so when you're talking about China, I guess we have to pay attention to China, and I'll listen to conversations. I don't know, because I'm, again, just looking at news, but I know what was happening here. And I just went through too much effort to schedule all those things and make the art and to, you know, get something presented so that we could let as many people know about these rallies. You know, the best potential we've ever had to use the First Amendment right to assemble, and our First Amendment right to free speech, and our First Amendment right to the press, to disseminate that information, to inspire, get more people riled up at these rallies. I just know that we lost a lot of potential there. And I don't think it's gone, though. I'm pretty sure we're going to see it all come back. Anyway,
I think there's a lot of people itching to get back out there and get these rallies going again, especially with the turnout that Virginia had.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping, my fear is that too many of them already, when I first started the year, there was like two that I couldn't go to both, because one was in like Washington at the same weekend, that one was in Minnesota, and I think one was in like Louisiana the same weekend as somewhere in Wisconsin or somewhere north. So I'm scared that when they reschedule everything, they'll want to still reschedule before the elections, and everything will be stacked, and everything will get less attention because it's not the Virginia rally this weekend. It's the Virginia, the Florida, the Washington, and the New Jersey rally this weekend, and everything will be divided, and all of them will get less and more potential for people to get frustrated. Oh, you know, I expected this, but we only got that. I'm never going to do it again. That's my fear. But that's fear. I don't think we got that.
But wouldn't having a bunch of rallies on the same day be like a show of force to a lot of them?
I mean, it could be spun that way, or it could definitely be looked at that way. But as far as like getting, let's say, just our media, not even the real media, but our media, we don't have enough. Very few, if any, of our media piece will have more than one team to send out.
Right.
Unless we got really good at crowdsourcing or grassrooting it, where, you know, we did some sort of adopt a content creator. So you appreciate your skills as a content creator, your ability to use the tools and the software to get information up online, and you have, you know, ability to get it out and have a community that can get your information that you put online and help share it and spread it. If all that's in place, then you don't need three-letter organizations to have a media person at the event. Instead, individuals make it happen. We're there. It's just, you know, fine-tuning the equalizer at this point. All the stuff plugged in. We've got people that know how to use cameras. We've got systems in place. It's just a matter of balancing the equalizer at this point, right? I don't think we need anything new. It's just a matter of reorganizing it and or just adjusting what we put our emphasis on, our attention on.
What are your guys' thoughts on the current lawsuits that are being brought to different states that were deeming gun stores non-vital, and how do you think it will impact future legislation that Democrats might try and put out?
I'll let Pink go first. And then, of course, anybody who's watching, feel free to answer, and we'll get to it here. We're not too far behind on the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to have more lawsuits going in there on that. I know in my state, ours are deemed essential, so we didn't have any problems with it. But yeah, I'd like to see some of these get higher up in the court system.
So I don't disagree. We need as many as we can and multiple. So in other words, more than one case going through, ideally, just to both clog the works, to show them that we mean business, and to create a need for resources on their end. If Bloomberg can spend all his money on the politics side, on the spending money to get a player into like the Oprah show or the whatever famous talk show of the time, to get, if they can spend all their time on the PR and they can spend all their money and all their attention on the PR, then that results in bad legislation and us spending all our money on the boring legislation side, on the boring lobbying side, on the boring pushing cases through the Supreme Court side, all of which takes time and money, and it's boring and it's slow and there's no payoff. They get to play in the payoff and the big money, the bringing the movie stars on and playing on emotions. We don't tackle them head to head there. So my concern is that if we have a lot of these lawsuits, or when we have a lot of these lawsuits, we're going to be aware of them, but we're not going to be able to focus on them because we don't focus on that stuff. We focus on, what's fun and next. We don't focus on amplifying those messages. So I'm kind of crossed. I definitely agree we need to have as many of those lawsuits as possible for all the things I just said. But at the same time, I wish we were doing that in an environment where there was something to facilitate that information out there. But right now you're going to get FPC posting on Instagram, for example, and then they're probably going to put the same duplicate post on Twitter and Facebook. So there's really no need to follow them on all three platforms or to pay attention to all three platforms. If you're following on one of the platforms, they're going to be out there sending the message that we're suing so-and-so for such and such. And now that gets into your brain. And unless you're like autistic or got some kind of computer brain, that's just going to come in air in one ear and out the other. FPC's doing something. And then you're going to get GOA coming at it a little different way with a Facebook post that they're going to shove out to Instagram and shove that somehow onto YouTube. And it's going to sound funny. And people on YouTube are going to go, ugh, this isn't what I'm used to. Tune it out. We know they did something, but it's just in one ear and out the other. And if we amplify that sporadic filth of unsophisticated, like awkward, like non-coordinated noise, then that's what we get. It's just louder noise. I'd like to see something step in as a intermediate or as a flux or as a catalyst to put all that stuff so it amplifies a real pattern, like so that it's all stacking and that we can all, sort of what Guns and Gadgets is doing, what Jared is able to do over there. He doesn't do it perfect, but he's at least putting in a fucking massive effort on keeping the voice, like bringing the information together and getting it out of one funnel. So that's my long ass answer to that one. Yeah, we need that. But my fear is that if we do get a bunch of states and a bunch of lawsuits, it's just going to turn into noise. And we're going to feel as gun owners like, good, the $30 I spent to GOA was worth it. They're doing their thing. And they're never going to get up and say, like, we're done. That can't happen. They're never going to get up and say, don't worry anymore. They have to say, there's the next thing and the next thing, because there's fuckers attacking us again and again and again. So they need more money for that. So I don't want to not see that. But how do you balance? I don't know where to go with all that. But that's my long ass answer to that one. Let's see, guys saying, or they just age us out. Freedom sucks. Wonder what that was too. Axis is saying to Dead Horse, in his opinion, a biodeveloped virus. In my opinion, it's a biodeveloped virus and let out on purpose. Try to tell the truth, ended up dead, Communist China. So I don't know. I've listened to doctors say that they can tell by looking at it physically, right? Like if it's created or not, and it doesn't look created. It's too sophisticated that it's a natural thing. And it's got to be like you can tell by looking at an android if it's an android or not, right? Like it looks like a person from 6 feet away, but it ain't a person. But unless there's new evidence or something like that, I don't think. I think we're looking at, and if you look at it as a weapon and you look at it as not a weapon, does it matter? Because what really matters is how we're dealing with it, how we're reacting with it, right?
Yeah, the outcome.
Now, Berger, yeah, okay, I was just going to say, Berger, if you're listening, you dropped out, but you're back in here. We were on guy that comments saying, good point, I forgot about the Hong Kong protests. So I guess Dead Horse, he's saying the Dead Horse. So if Dead Horse is saying, was this a reaction from China to squash the HK or the Hong Kong type of rebellion? Is that what we're talking, Dead Horse?
Well, I mean, they would have released it in Hong Kong, wouldn't they? I mean, it wouldn't have started in an out of the way Wuhan province and then worked its way all the way across China.
Well, and how they dispersed it and how like if they did it effectively in Hong Kong and it worked, but then it also got out of hand over here, like, you know what I mean? Like, how would we know? Or if it was supposedly a plan, like get it out of hand here. And then once you've got something that you can point at, hey, there's an outbreak over here. Now you give it to the people in Hong Kong and nobody thinks twice. Oh, I wonder how they got it. They don't think like, oh, these people died and that was strategically useful for these people who now can do whatever they want. You know, like maybe it's some diversion that way. I really don't know. You know, like in other words, set the forest on fire over here so that you can burn down this one specific house and there's less call for arson or whatever. So we have to, so Dead Horse is saying, so we have to find the light in every situation, right? Well, check my story on IG because that news out of China, if nothing else comes good of this corona thing, that news will make it all worthwhile. Okay, so I guess you're saying to check out your news feed, which is Dead Horse Dad. What are we talking about?
Well, he's got 2 IGs, so.
Oh, what's his other one?
I think it's just Dead Horse.
Oh, plain old Dead Horse. Oh. Let's know which one. You're a wrench, aren't you? I can't tell from here if he's a wrench. From this side.
Oh, he said don't do it live on air.
Oh, okay. So then I'll quit doing it live on air. All right. So let's see. Fine Ape is saying, did the CCP implode? I don't know what that is. Oh, so I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, maybe he's talking about a live. I don't think I can see lives here, can I? Well, maybe I can over here. Did he say not to do it live? Well, what the hell? Are we supposed to know what it is? Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. Did you see that?
Your screen's too small for me to
Okay,
see.
so basically they've changed their eating habits. Let's put it that way. And that might be what he didn't want to mention or whatever. So without getting too much into it, they're changing their eating habits a bit, and that might change some of it. I don't know. Are we still susceptible to disease by being a bunch of mammals hanging out with each other so closely? If we remove the specific instances that starts the specific diseases, you know what I mean? Like just because you remove the thing that started this one doesn't mean we can't get flu again. It just means that that particular flu probably won't happen. But I hear what you're saying. For me personally, I don't really care one way or the other. I think that we are looking at it differently than a country with billions of people. Because their country is it's basically about the same size as ours, but they have so many more people. We have to be living a different world, a different life. So I'm not going to try to tell them how to feed themselves or whatever. It's hopefully they can do it without killing us. But you know what I mean, like I think I'm not going to try to solve how China feeds itself. At least not in my daily gun show chat.
Plus, I think after all this is said and done, a lot of people are going to be kind of holding on to the social distancing idea, keeping people, not gathering in as large groups.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
Not
That's
touching.
a good. Let's dig into that one. First, I want to say, Berger, you did get your icon changed there, so now it's a 1911. Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Let's see. So, Pink, I think it's too early to tell. So we're just talking here, right? Like people are going to get upset. They're probably not listening to my show. 14 people listening to my show, but I have to put that caveat out there for people that might listen to it in the future because people are looking for reasons to get upset about stuff. But, we had the old Spanish flu thing is what people like to compare it to because that was such a ravenous thing that changed, like the whole world had to pay attention to it because it was happening. Mm-hmm. So if we got the Spanish flu and we somehow, I don't know what happened as a direct result because science was different and the world was different, but let's say people wore masks or did something to react to the Spanish flu back then, or plague or whatever the thing is that affected the whole world. Yesterday or like 2 months ago or at SHOT Show this year, we weren't wearing plastic bags over our head. We weren't afraid to shake hands. At SHOT Show, there is a whole thing about not shaking hands at SHOT Show, but that's been going on like separate but parallel, I guess, because people get sick at SHOT Show.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like we still had movie theaters. Nobody thought twice about going on a cruise ship. And something happened between the Spanish flu and, December of last year. So I hear what you're saying. People will do something different at the end of all this, just because there's people that never thought about wearing a mask today. But so some of those people just think it's cool to wear a mask and they'll just keep wearing a mask because they can. Some people will be scared and continue to wear a mask. But there's people like me that didn't want to wear a mask, ain't looking to wear a mask. And as soon as they don't make me wear a mask, I ain't wearing a mask.
Right.
And I think that eventually, I don't think we'll see a drastic change like 12 monkeys just because of this is all I'm saying. I think that we'll forget pretty quick and people will get sick of it real quick because we're just not that susceptible to disease.
I think the hand sanitizer thing might stick around a little bit more though.
Yeah. And that's something where I don't even know when that really first started, but it had to be at one of these outbreaks, right? Because at one point there was no such thing as a hand sanitizing station. And all of a sudden there is a thing now, right?
Right.
Back
when we was kids, we didn't even know what hand sanitizer was.
There was no such thing. You washed your hands, period, and it was with soap and water. And I think I've heard of antibacterial soap because I hung out with ambulances my whole life. So I knew that there was such a thing, but not in the kitchen, not in a house. It was like in a hospital, they had that stuff.
Right.
Or maybe in like a clean room in like a lab or something. Like, if you're going to be doing something where you just can't get it contaminated, you might have something that gets to that level. But yeah, somehow we got to where our dish soap is antibacteriological or whatever. Am I really this far back? No. Oh shit, maybe I am. I definitely missed whoever said in here that they bought something. I haven't even been looking. I appreciate the people that are buying stuff, and I've been not paying attention. But George said I just bought the AK playing cards for AKpril, right on. So I'm going to go look. We did get 2 orders. 2 orders from the store this evening. And I do appreciate that. I've been trying not to hype on it because I paid all my bills this month and, I'm not looking to profiteer during this whole thing. So I appreciate the people that are purchasing. I didn't even post anything for Free Patch Friday today.
I haven't posted in so long. I've been so busy.
We've got a couple orders in and I do appreciate that. And yesterday, someone bought the second edition or the second copy, the second print of the Shooter's Almanac. And that's $50. So I really do appreciate that. I don't think I've done the math yet on how much it costs to print it and then ship it, but it's not like I make $50 on it. But I definitely am working off that price of that printer when people buy those things. So I do appreciate you buying a super overpriced, out of date, it's immediately wrong, sort of a historic copy of, of what is it, like an artisan run of that thing. I'll make another one now. So I've just been doing one at a time because it takes like an hour or more. And then I don't know if anybody's ever going to buy it. That last one sat there for like 2 weeks. So I'll make another one. I'm actually in the middle. I was working on for 5 hours. There's a bunch of people that were in on that, got to see the project that I'm working on right now, which is sort of it's sort of like a version of the almanac. But anyway, I'm learning my techniques for the software that lets you like the publishing software that Adobe offers. And then just you have to use software for a while to figure out not just how to use it, but then how it interacts with your printer and how to print things right. So I'm learning here, and I appreciate the people that are helping that process. I don't have the ability to just say hire a publisher and say this is what's in my head, make it happen. That would be great, but I honestly don't like doing things that way. I do appreciate the ability to get in and learn the software and figure out how it works so that hopefully it's a better overall product than just somebody who has an idea and then some other third party facilitates the idea. I really appreciate the interaction between the medium and the information. So I do like that. I appreciate the time to be able to do it. Hopefully people are enjoying being part of that process. That was not live. We were listening to the show Jericho, that TV show in the background. I wasn't screen sharing it. I was just screen sharing what I was doing on the screen working on the project. But we were bullshitting and listening to the Jericho thing. And for me, that was a lot better. I was able to sit here for like 5.5 hours just listening to the show. When people jumped in, we'd bullshit. They could see what I was talking about. I'd get input from them. But then when they jumped out, I could just listen to the show some more. So, this show is neat, but I can't sit here for 5 hours and just talk. I'm not interested in doing it, and there's nothing to talk about. And then I have to run elevator music in the background because of YouTube. When we run it on the tube like that, I can listen to an actual show in the background, and it's interesting. So all the dead spots weren't, on my end, weren't boring. So anyway, that worked out pretty well. I might do that more often, especially when I know, I'm working on a project like this. I know I've got hours and hours and hours to put in on it. I had finished it, but then I figured out I did it in the wrong scale. I had done it in the wrong paper proportion, like the wrong paper size. Mm-hmm. So I basically just needed to go in and change the paper size and move everything around, like shuffle everything around on the page. So it was idiot work. It was really just moving around a mouse. And it worked out perfectly. So anytime I've got a project like that, I think I'll go live like that using the gun tube chamber. And that way it doesn't get recorded. There's no issues with copyright or whatever. And it's not mind numbing for me when there's nobody around. So that worked out pretty good. And again, thanks to the Patreons who did jump in and pass some of the time with me there. All right. So thanks again for purchasing the cards. And there will be extra stuff going out for sure. I lost my software. That's a subscription to the software that lets me create patches, like the design software. And I just haven't, it's not a priority. So I haven't been able to design anything, but I've got lots and lots of designs. So I'm probably going to go back and try to take some of the old designs and do something with them to do an AKpril patch this year, but I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but that's my goal. So we didn't get that many orders today. You never know what might happen. So thanks again for purchasing stuff at the store. Ozzy is asking, Chris is asking Ozzy what his Instagram is. Just type in Ozzy up here and it'll probably find you, because Instagram's pretty good of knowing if you're looking for somebody that all your friends are following, you know what I mean? You'll, I think it'll do a pretty good job. But he told you right there. Oh, we're way back. So I already saw this before. Just had to do one on the computer, and I think that was the 4473 stuff we were talking about before. Oh, dang, we're way back. So let me go forward up here. All right, being owed a few favors, echoing. So that's when Berger first jumped in.
Yeah, you must have jumped back to the beginning of the chat.
Yeah, this thing is weird, and I saw some post from way before that I missed. Okay, so here's Armament following up with comments from a long time ago saying, check it out when you get a chance. Total tyrant gun laws passed and signed by Governor of Virginia. Oh, okay. So I knew that stuff was being proposed. I did not know that it got passed and went past the governor. But I guess that was sort of inevitable, right? That was the problem in Virginia, is that Bloomberg threw a bunch of money in at the last minute, I guess. A bunch of people didn't go vote. So let's not like act like Bloomberg just bought the votes. He bought the votes of the people that went and voted, and everybody else didn't vote. So two people are culpable for that, right?
Yeah.
Or at least two sides of that coin are culpable for that. But yeah, we definitely have a situation in Virginia that's interesting. And you're saying that the stuff was signed. Well, I guess we'll see. Virginia is not a state that I would say is a bunch of like if it would happen in Oregon, I'd be a little more concerned. Virginia doesn't strike me as a bunch of people that are gonna, in unity, not do something. Does that make sense? Like they're not gonna coordinate all that much. But I'm only basing that off the fact that I've never seen Virginia do anything other than that rally, period. Like, has Virginia ever done anything? Do you remember anything in history that Virginia did? At least recent history?
Recent? Nah.
I mean, in the Revolutionary War, I'm sure they did stuff, probably. Maybe in the Civil War, but I don't really know. I never thought of Virginia as being some... I know that they're colonial, but I don't think of Virginia as being like is it the volunteer state? No. It's just Virginia. So anyway, it's an opportunity for Virginia to get the fuck up and do something about it. And they got so many nearby states. Maybe they'll pull a New Jersey and everybody will just ignore them. Or Massachusetts, and they'll be a big state and everybody will just ignore them. Dead horses, good news. Good news. Professor Farnsworth, good news. She's not in here. She left me. I've got some disturbing pictures to post on Instagram. Let me see if I've got any of them on the computer. Do I have any of them on the computer? I'm gonna have to go look for these off air because I don't want to show you stuff that's personal here, but I've got some disturbing photographs. Let's see. I would have to go here, 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 zoom in. Were they last month? They were last month. They were last month. Go back out to last month and zoom in and let's see if I can find these pictures. They might still be on my phone. I think they're still on my phone. Well, I didn't take very many pictures last month. So how am I going to get them? I guess I can try to do this since I've hyped it up. I didn't pull any of them off my phone. I have like 2 sets of them at this point. So now I'm going to try to pull them off of my phone and see if that'll work. They'll be here, here. Problem is my phone's got a big memory card, so it usually takes like an hour and a half to show up on my screen. But that's the reason I'm not doing a mellow belly rub right now, which was requested by Fine Ape. But later, I will go in there and rub her belly. That is sort of like a super chat, except it's for belly rub and a puppy. So some chats encourage you to waste your money, giving 30% of it to YouTube so that they can get some kind of a sense of fulfillment that they've stolen money from you somehow. I encourage people to ask for a puppy belly rub. And then when the puppy is closer to me, you make a big deal out of rubbing a puppy belly. Because that's better for the environment, better for the world.
Yeah, mine are mad at me right now because I was over at my family's and playing with their puppies. So.
Oh yeah, when you come home with other puppies smell on you, they don't usually take kindly to that kind of business. And then when it's dogs that they know that don't know, like, oh, I've smelled that dog before and I don't know it.
Yep.
They don't like that. I've been deleting my pictures and I might have, I'm still waiting for the stuff to load, so I got way too many pictures on my memory card. Let's see. Great news, fine. It is really great news. I don't know what these guys are talking about. How to squash a rebellion. A virus got it done in China. Well, 2020 hindsight. And even if they didn't intentionally do it, if we allow the circumstances to exist, here they are. If we allow the circumstances to exist that would allow them to do it, then number one, who cares? Because the same thing, it just happened. Or it's going to let them know that they have the potential to do it if they want to. I'm going to zoom out right now. So I'm screen sharing the picture. And you might want to, if there's any little kids out there watching, for whatever reason, you have a little kid up in the middle of the night watching this, tell them to turn away from the screen. Don't let them look at this screen. Are you ready? I already put the disclaimer out there.
Yep.
I'm going to zoom out now. If I can click back over here. This happened.
Oh no.
So I don't know if it's a cry for help, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I woke up from sleeping twice now. One time it happened, and then I was like, this will never happen again. And then today, same thing happened. This was from a few days ago. But today I got further evidence. And what's weird is she bites it. What we're looking at here is a roll of paper towel that's like, or a roll of toilet paper that's, I don't know, maybe got like 10 wraps still around the core. You know, it's not a done roll, but it's got like one use left in it or something. And she's taken it out of the bathroom and brought it into her little bed area. You can tell by all the furs everywhere that that's her little bed area. And it's got like a perfect bite mark. Like she went up and bit it once and then took it in here and set it down and then like wiped her mouth off with it. Like, I don't know what she does with it. She didn't destroy it. She just sets it here just to like show like, you know what? I'm in my teens and I can do what I want.
She's hoarding it. That's what she's doing. She's hoarding it.
Maybe she figures that's what you do nowadays. That's what it's like in the after.
You know how teenagers, they watch, they see that stuff on TV and they imitate it. That's what she's been watching.
So what happened? What happened? I have to click this again. All right. Oh, I know what is happening. I'm not clicking on this first. See, look at that face she gave me. Off. It's my roll of toilet paper.
She's mad that you found it.
She put it there. See, I can't not see that. And like, you know what I mean? Like other dogs I've had, they would have ate that roll of toilet paper. There'd be no evidence. It would have been gone. There'd been toilet paper in a poop somewhere. You know what I mean? or there's the kind of dogs that shred it, and it would have just been a big pile of shreds everywhere. But this dog just takes it and relocates it, and then just sits there as if to say, "What are you gonna do about it? I'm a teenager now. I do what I feel like. I don't care about your rules." So I don't know. Do I whoop her, or do I beat her, or do I spank her? I don't know what to do. Maybe all the three.
It looks like she's trying to extort you.
Like she's trying to get more toilet paper out of me?
Treats, toilet paper, I'm not sure.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like hoard the toilet paper, like you get it back when I get some duck jerky.
I think
She's a big
so.
fan of the duck jerky. So yeah, I that happened the other day, and I was like, "Dang it, I'm taking a picture of that because that's classic, right?" And then same thing today. I woke up and I could tell when I walked past the bathroom. I'm like, something's wrong in there. Turn the corner, sure enough, and then she's just sitting there. So it's not like I caught her in the act. Like she just grabbed it like 2 seconds ago, and I got her before she could wail into it. I think she just takes it in there and sets it on her pillow, just as if to say, "There you go, I did that."
Well, what it is, you're getting the fluffy, soft toilet paper.
Well, it ain't though.
There's something else in the house that's fluffy and soft. She's taking it because she wants to be the only fluffy, soft, white thing in the house.
Could be. It is fun. It's probably, I did clean out my bathroom a little bit. My bathroom's pretty gross. So use this opportunity to go in there, this time off basically, and gone in there and cleaned it up a little bit. It's possible that now she's able to grab it, where before she wasn't able to grab it, because now it's kind of sitting on a milk crate before it was sitting on a counter. So it's possible, but she's done it in the past. It's not the first time she's ever did it, but it's just funny how she's just got I don't know why she even does it. Like say I could understand it if she thought it was food or something, or she's going to chew on it. like every other dog I've ever had will take toilet paper roll like that and just chew on the paper. You're just going to get a big chunk of pulp back, you know?
Yeah.
Or shred it. I haven't had dogs that do it, but Oro did it one time. But when they're babies, like when they're figuring out how to use those little front teeth or something, they like to shred toilet paper. Like a toilet paper roll would be perfect for them. It doesn't taste. You know, it's probably got to be super fun for a little dog.
Yeah.
But I've seen people go into houses and stuff, and they've just got like a confetti of like towels or toilet paper or whatever, where a dog just shredded it. I think I've had cats that shred it, but I don't think they bite it. I think they're just doing that weird cat claw thing on it, you know, shredding it that way. But for a cat, that's got to be amazing to be able to do your little cat claw, little purr thing, except
Right.
have the thing underneath you get destroyed. They probably love that. Okay, so yeah, that's the one. All right, so now we get down to armament, saying Jared is on top of this stuff. He certainly is. And, you know, I'm not doing a good job of it, but let's do some recruitment at like 3 a.m. on a Friday night. Eventually, I'm going to try to do, because the thing that gets me about Jared is he's a one-man show, and he's doing good. But I'd like to see Jared be like a team of people. You know that guy Nuance Bro? It's a channel on YouTube. Anybody?
That's
No, I can't say I do.
Jared. Did I
Well,
meet
Jared
him?
is Guns and Gadgets. He's the guy from Massachusetts who does
Okay.
the regular
Okay.
updates.
He's the one I grabbed from the airport that one time.
Yeah, you know him for sure, because when we went to SHOT Show, Guns and Gadgets was arriving on Monday, and he arrived at the airport and was saying something like, "Hey, I'm in Vegas. What should I do?" Made me think he didn't have any plans, and we were at the Antares shoot. So Antares is an organization of manufacturers and service industry companies that either are like owned by or run by military law enforcement or specifically cater to military law enforcement. So they have that like theme amongst it, but basically it's like a little mini version of Industry Day at the range. There's a bunch of people that show up at a substantial shooting range there in Vegas and have an event on the on the Sunday before SHOT Show even starts up. So it's an extra pre-event. And Jared had shown up like, what was it, noon or something? Fairly early in the day on Sunday and said, "Hey, what's up? What should I do?" So I texted him and said, "Hey, dude, if you want to go to this event, we've got other people that are driving around town and stuff. From what I understood, you and Marco had been going to eat. And at least that was the plan. You guys were going to go eat or maybe get your badges or do something and then maybe show up out there." So I was like, "Oh, shit, we got people that are around town with vehicles. If you want to get out to where we're at, let's make that happen." So Pink was like, "Hell yeah." And he jumped over there, grabbed him, a dude from Gear Report, and brought them out to the Antares shoot so that Jared, a cop, could get out there and see what this law enforcement / military focused, affiliated group of companies was up to. And he got out there and was able to see the whole thing. And did you go in with him?
Yeah. I
Okay.
went to the top
I think
and started walking down.
The Gun Channel's people had all booked. Some of them didn't even go to Antares, and the rest of them booked town like by noon. They all got there like ass early and then left by noon. So when you got there with him, all it was there was me and Gear Report, and that's where I was like, shit, I don't know who's going to hang out with, but I guess. And then did you take him back into town also?
Yeah, I took one of them. I don't know who it was.
Well, but I mean, you took Jared back into to Vegas basically.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to leave him hanging out there. But anyway, yeah. So Pink got to hang out with him quite a bit, and then he got to experience one of these other events besides just the stuff that's on the SHOT Show schedule or calendar. Anyway, Jared's pretty cool, and he's consistently putting out videos and updates based on like the insight he gets. He gets a lot of leads and people giving him tips and stuff. So whatever the process he used for vetting, he certainly doesn't have a reputation like some have had. He's not the first person to do this. I mean, nowhere near the first person to do an effort at putting Second Amendment news out there on the regular, but he's definitely the best at it. Everybody else that's done it has either not been able to keep up because there's too much of it. They haven't been getting any kind of reaction, so they got no incentive to keep going. or they kept throwing in so much paranoid weirdness that they were crying wolf too often, and no one listened to him after a minute. So Jared has a good ability not just to stay in the game and have be able to do it, which it takes more work than people realize. It's not just like hard work. It's just what's the word, like being motivated to do it. So he's got that, which is unique. But then he's able to filter what to put out. So he's not getting a ratio of crying wolf, shaking your fist at this guy for no reason. People get sick of that after a while. And I guess he must. I don't watch every single thing he does, so he must do that occasionally. Everyone does, but it's certainly not a chunk of his channel or anything. So I think he's doing a good job of balancing it better than anyone has done it, which is why I'd like to see him succeed. I don't know him except for helping him get to that thing with Pink and chatting with him on a live chat or two once in a while. I just like what he's able to accomplish, and the time frame, the length of time he's been able to accomplish that is unprecedented. People have attempted it, like I say, but no one's able to do it for as well as he's been doing it, as for as long as he's been doing it. And that the fact that he's got to shill coffee and flashlights drives me fucking nuts. In an industry where we're hemorrhaging tens of thousands of dollars a month on garbage, to see him have to jump through hoops to get people to do stuff that gets him to be able to facilitate him doing his thing, frustrating as hell. In Hong Kong, it was just the flu. Yeah, just sort of like eating French fries. In France, you just say fries, and they know what to bring you. You got 3 kids. You would think the most difficult part you'd have to deal with is who inherits which guns, but it turns out anti-gun and wait, hold on. You got 3 kids. I think the most difficult part you'd have to deal with is who inherits which guns. But they turn out anti-gun, and now you got 0 to hand off the freedom sticks.
Grandchildren.
Oh, see, that's somebody who's thinking outside the box. Yeah. Or send
Grandkids and nieces.
Send them to Arizona.
Nephews.
Yep. I mean, I know my daughter won't want all my stuff, but she'll want a few things. I've got a nephew that hunts. He's into all kinds of guns, and yeah, my whole family.
I've got a list, in my list of stuff. If they find my list of stuff, let's say I, fall off a cliff or something, and it'll say this goes to so and so, this goes to so and so, because I got some guns that I just am holding for people that aren't mine, and then there's stuff that bounces back and forth between people, and if I have sort of a thing in there, if I have this one, it goes back to whoever owned it originally. But then, I got to update it because I used to have in there sell this at this store, sell this at this store. If you don't, here's where to sell this. This is where they know what it is, because I've got guns that are dumb, a specific version of something that 99% of gun shops are going to go, oh, this is whatever, a Jennings, right? And then one gun shop would go, oh, this is the Jennings from that one factory. So while 99% of them are worth $60, this one's worth $90. So it's almost negligible, but you know what I mean? I just put that kind of info in there. And then certain things out of the collection was this goes to somebody who would appreciate it, as opposed to for a bayonet or something. Most people are going to go, this is a knife, and then throw it in a pile, where somebody who actually appreciates it might go, oh, snap, this is one of 3 blah, blah, blah that guy had in his collection, and now it's in my collection, and that completes the collection. That kind of stuff I'd like to see happen, if I fell off a cliff. But I haven't done that in a while, so that stuff's kind of old. A whole bunch of people who, out of the blue, would be like, who's that guy? What now? Giving me what from who? I don't know if you get that opportunity. You got a bunch of nephews and stuff, they might not appreciate the CZ collection you got or whatever, just to them much a bunch of pistols. Major problem with them trying to release it in Hong Kong is that it's a major travel hub. It'd be difficult for them to contain it within Hong Kong if they were to release it in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know. Again,
that's how it got out, probably.
You mean, I don't know. And then I heard something, and when was this? Because I've been ankle deep or knee deep, what do you say, elbow deep into this project I've been working on. But I seem to remember somebody saying something about that they had sent somebody on a bunch of planes or something. Was that a actual thing, or was that just a paranoid?
Out of Wuhan, which is where this whole thing's supposed to be like the epicenter, from what I understand. I thought I saw something that said something like 5,000 people had flown out of Wuhan.
But there must have been something more than just like that 5,000 people flew, but like after they knew or like intentionally they sent them like it was some
Yeah,
like deliberateness to it, right?
yeah, long after they knew what was going on, and they were trying to, from what I understand, play it down and act like it wasn't this big deal, even though they knew that it was.
Is that something like when you've screwed around in the living room and you've like something happened and now you burned a hole in the carpet? You're like, dang it, like there's no way to like excuse this. But then if you knock over a candle and it burns an even bigger chunk of the carpet and there's wax all over the place, now all of a sudden nobody even pays attention to that spot over there by the coffee table where there's a hole in the carpet. Is it one of them things like, oh, well, let's make it a worldwide pandemic real quick and no one will be able to figure out where it came from?
I don't know, because seems with all the news sources that I've seen, it's pretty well documented that the ground zero for this would be Wuhan province in China there. So I don't know. It just seems like China was doing their normal stuff of smoke and mirrors and not divulging the entire truth. I don't know if they thought it would hurt their economy or whatnot, but it seems pretty well established that it started off in this province of Wuhan.
I think that's pretty established, but whether or not it was like weaponized or intentional or a blunder or a mistake or, happenstance or if it was inevitable, like all that's still speculation.
Yeah, and I actually wonder that too, because apparently there's some sort of biochemical manufacturing plant there in Wuhan. But then another thing I heard was that worker at the fish market had contracted it from what they believe was probably a fish that was infected with it, and it just mutated and became susceptible for humans to transfer. Which that one seems a little far-fetched, I think, because how often do we really catch major disease like this from animals?
Well, that's the thing is I've seen a couple of different attempts to just describe or explain the phenomenon or the different elements of it, the science behind it, and it's going to be another level of or hurdle that we have to accomplish because if you ever seen these videos that are out on YouTube that have like gravity explained to a child, a elementary school, a high schooler, a college kid, and like an expert. Like they'll explain one person will explain a thing at to these different people. And that's kind of interesting to whatever YouTube feeds me those. But imagine now you're a doctor or you're a whatever the scientific term is for somebody who studies viruses and disease spreading. Is that epidemiology or whatever? So, you've got these experts in specific fields and they're trying to throw information out there to everybody. So it's not like they get to throw the kindergarten version and this, the elementary school version and the high school version and the college version and then the expert version. Instead, they're throwing out the Oprah Winfrey version, which is some horrible hybrid of all of that, where they encompass everything down to bullet points and, weave in a bunch of manipulation in there, like agenda-based manipulation somehow. And it's always Trump's fault too. So it's so difficult to read through this stuff and get actual data where it's actually somebody who's interested in just eliminating confusion. So it's something that we're going to have to learn. And we've dealt with it with the Cold War. We've dealt with it with AIDS. We dealt with it with, are eggs good this week, or is cholesterol bad, or is high fats good or bad, keto diet? Like, it's not the only thing we have to figure out that's complex. So I don't think we're crippled by it. I think the media wants us to be crippled by it because we're seeing socialism seep in when the pumps are off. And they want that. They want the things to erode. They want us to question the foundations that we're built on. So if you can't crumble the foundations, if you can't put enough shit on top of it to collapse them, what you can do is wait until people aren't thinking about their foundations. And the first time some rain falls, look at the damp concrete and suggest that it's about to flood. And that's what they're right. I think that's where we're at now. So it's how often we're going to be duped by that, like when we're going to get sick of it. And hopefully it's stuff like this. I wouldn't be doing this for 1,000 episodes if I didn't think conversations like this didn't lead towards the crumbling of that facade or that bullshit media billboard.
Definitely.
Let's see. So don't show it live. Okay, we already did show it live, I guess. So they're talking about the eating habits that are changing in China or whatever. What is I didn't get to say this one, but the stop eating bat soup one made me think of a whole bunch of memes that I've seen recently, but I forgot to ask the other day, did anybody get any good April Fool's stuff this year, or was it all focused on serious stuff? Was there any good April Fool's stuff this year?
I saw one. It was a video, not gun related or anything. It was just father had his daughters out waiting for the school bus, and then he's like, "Hey, y'all realize what today is, right?" And they stopped and they thought about it, and as they went to go running back in, realizing that, oh, it's April Fool's, he locked them out of the house.
But they didn't have to go to school?
No,
whatever.
all the schools are shut down. So he must have thought of some good lie to tell him, like, "Hey, you're going back to school today."
Well, yeah, if your dad wakes up and says, "Oh, school started again, you got to go to school," like, dang it, you get all ready.
Honestly, a lot of I've got a 13-year-old sister. My kids, some friends' kids, they're all bummed out and say, "I can't believe how many kids are actually wanting to go back to school already."
Well, they're missing prom, they're missing graduation, they're missing a lot of things.
I say for the seniors, I could definitely understand that, but my kids are 6, 8, and like I said, my sister's 13. All my friends' kids are anywhere between 10 and 2. So
yeah, for a little kid, you'd think it'd be great to be missing school. But
yeah.
Unless, I think every time I ever missed school, it was like, okay, everybody's still at work. So for me, it was like, okay, you're not going to school, be back home at 5. So I could do whatever I wanted. So it was awesome. And that would have been for a day. And it was usually like a snow day or something. So it's not like you could really do anything anyway, except go outside and play in the snow. But for a month or the rest of your school year, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to have that much time, because you don't get to just play then. Now it's like, okay, here's your homeschooling garbage. And it's like, oh, now I got to have my mom teach me or my dad teach me. That would be pretty horrible, I think.
Got to go mow the yard. Got to do chores.
Oh, man. A whole bunch of chores are getting done. Do the kids still have to do chores, or is that illegal now?
I make my kids do stuff. I don't call it chores. I just tell them, hey, this needs picked up, that needs picked up.
Let's see. So his pants saying, almost got thrown out of a gun shop today for missing the mandatory hand sanitizer at the door. I'm going to definitely be one of them people, because I'm not used to doing stupid shit, and I'm not going to be good at learning procedures at 1,000 different places I go. So I'll probably do the same. I saw something. Did we just watch it right now where somebody got pulled out of a bus or a train for not? I think that was earlier on Instagram though, but some cops pulled somebody off a train because they weren't wearing a mask.
Who?
So it potentially could get weird, but it's got to be a population thing. I just can't see people in Walmart in Tucson, caring if, one person in the store ain't wearing a mask yet.
Right.
But I guess it depends on how bad it gets.
They gave us the option to wear masks and gloves, but I mean, we're not wearing them. Of course, we're in the middle of the night with no customers too, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would wear gloves potentially if there was an outbreak because the thing can last for hours on stuff. So I could see wearing gloves, but unless there's somebody coughing around you, it's not like you're licking the boxes, so I can't see wearing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But I don't know, if you were doing something where, there's a lot of stuff blown around, I guess I could see putting on some kind of precautions or what. Like I could see somebody who's a cashier at a store wearing a mask because you can't tell. You're not going to be able to you can barely do anything about the people that are walking up and coughing on you, right?
Right.
You're
Well,
just standing there.
they've put up plexiglass shields for all of our cashiers.
That's fake though. Have you ever seen the stuff where I don't know what they do. They might probably do it with heat, I guess, but they do some kind of cameras where they'll show like when somebody coughs, like how that distributes or whatever.
It goes around it.
Yeah, it just goes right around it, right? I mean, a bunch of it stops, but it billows all around like, clouds. So it billows all around and goes up and around. But it's just in, if there's any amount of wind, like air conditioning in the room or people walking around, yeah, it just gets all chaotic and crazy. So you really got to wear masks and stuff. But on the other hand, unless this is unprecedented disease that is the end of times, it's just going to be as contagious as every other thing that we've ever had, which is not really all that contagious, right?
Right.
I watched something yesterday. Am I going to remember what it was? No. Am I going to be able to figure out what it was? Maybe. It was called. I watched Devil's Pass. I don't know if anybody's seen that from 2013.
I can't remember it.
400 Days? No. Is it this one? It might have been this one. Oh no, this is a movie about a spaceship. It was something about the Bay. Oh, that's what it was called, The Bay. It was called The Bay from 2012. And it's a movie about Chesapeake Bay. You know how that one movie, Chesterfield or Cloverfield, where it's like the whole movie is like they found some guy's VHS or his camcorder, and it's just you're watching the guy having a party, and then the aliens come down, and it's crazy, and you're just watching it all from his camcorder, and then they pick him up at the end when he's dead, and then you'd see the whole thing through the camcorder. There's a movie like that. Wait a minute. Nope, I'm mixing it with another one. The Bay is sort of like that, but it's not. It's like a low budget documentary-ish type of movie. Anyway, it's about something weird that happens in Chesapeake Bay from pollution, basically. And it doesn't turn into a virus, but it's a virus-like thing. Like, let's just say they don't know. It's very like there's a contagious thing that's happening, and everybody starts to freak out about it. Anyway, it's from 2012, so it has really no forewarning of what we're talking about here, but it was interesting to see. I think I typed in sci-fi and mystery, and it brought up, along with other stuff, it brought up a ton of what would you call them, like apocalypse, pandemic,
right,
type of movies, that kind of thing, like Contagion and all those. So it was similar to that in respect that people started, and I guess that's what I was getting at, is that if this thing turned into something like in that movie, The Bay, they don't know what it is at first, but basically like you just touch somebody or you touch whatever it was that you got exposed to. Hours later, you had like skin lesions and blisters. And then hours later after that, you're puking blood and you were dead. So something like that, where like there's immediate dire consequence, that would be a whole different type of pandemic. pandemic, compared to this, which is a relatively like, oh, if you get it, you'll get the flu. And then if you get the flu, you might die. If it's like, if you touch somebody and they have it, 4 hours later, you're dead and it'll hurt.
Right.
That's a whole different amount of panic, right? And paranoia. And that would be different than this rock hit the ground, or, a meteor hit the earth, and I don't know, it burned a whole bunch of crops and there's no sun for 6 months. Like, that would be a whole different type of apocalypse type of thing, where you're not getting out of that. Like, nobody's, sending out a $1,200 check to make the ashes in the atmosphere fall. It's the bat. Oh, I didn't realize you use bat hide. That's how they're so smooth and they don't rust or scratch the gun metal. If you're out howling at the moon, you probably have a lot of opportunity to catch bats. You got the Cards and the Yankees patch. I need to send Yankee a bunch of money, so I appreciate that. Eventually I'll have to PayPal Yankee a bunch of money over. Seriously, he's planning to take over the world? Oh, so there you go. Wearing one of them holsters, you're part of the plan. 15 out of 10 experts agree fluffy puppy belly rubs help to decrease the efforts of the Rona. Interesting. I know that Nurse Puppy has helped me out quite a few times when I'm sick or whatever. And most of the time when I'm sick, it's cold out.
Which keeps you warm.
So having a puppy to go underneath the blankets and have a big fluffy puppy under there, it's pretty good. Although Oro is warmer than this dog is. Oro was way bigger, right? And he was basically a giant engine. So he was always had body heat that he could blow out. So if you put Oro underneath of a blanket under there with you, there's nothing that has ever been that warm. This dog, you put underneath the blanket, and it takes like a good while before you realize that there's a dog in there. Maybe because it's all insulated in there, she doesn't release it.
Right. Yeah, it's her coat.
But she doesn't really help all that much for me. I'll have to go in there and basically grab her and like bear hug her. And if I bear hug her, I can steal her warmth out of there when it's super cold. But Oro was better for pulling heat off of. And the Rottweilers back in the day. But again, 3 times as big of mass too.
Yeah. Yeah. I know mine kept me warm during there was the ice storm of 2012. It knocked my power out. And yeah, the puppy would pretty much lay on top of me like a blanket, keep me warm at night.
What kind of puppy?
Rottweiler.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty good. I was gonna say a pit bull. I don't know. They don't have enough fat or flubber or whatever, but a Rottweiler's got enough to be like a blanket. That ours to say in Virginia equals voter fraud. That would be interesting. I don't know if anybody's looked at that. I don't know if it's voter fraud or voter apathy. I don't think we get to always assume somebody else did it. When we didn't do something, that's doing something. If we didn't go vote because we assumed, there's consequences for that. So I don't want to just act like it's the other guys doing something against us when we have to equally, that whole thing when you point, there's 4 fingers pointing back at you. We got to be aware that we need to motivate ourselves and the individuals. We can't shame each other, tell each other how the system works. We know how the system works. I'm going to watch another election in Virginia. If there's 2 elections where Democrats take over, then what the hell, Virginia? But if Virginia bounces back with their next election and pulls a 94, right, where they pull the assault weapons ban and we emptied the House, like that would be nice to see. Virginia voters taken back, because then it's not like, oh, look what they did to us, but instead like, dang it, we took a lump and now we're coming back. And if they come back and they give them a lump, I'm down. I'm a Virginia fan again. But till then, Virginia didn't do that.
I wouldn't say voter fraud. I would say voters bought, because
Well, that's interesting. In other words, incentive to vote my way, but that can only happen if the other side doesn't vote.
Right.
If it was like gun owners in Virginia voted constantly and Bloomberg pulled off the biggest win ever, like such a challenge, we would know about it. I think instead, nothing happened. Virginia just sat there doing nothing ever. And Bloomberg is like, it's just sitting right there across the Potomac. I'm going to go ahead and screw with Virginia. And he did a little bit, and he had results. I think that's what happened. I don't think it was like Virginia was so pro-2 gun, and it was a solid pro-2 gun, and somehow, Ninja Bloomberg comes in with his Ninja Bloomberg money and somehow dupes enough people to make it, a pro-gun state turn anti-gun. Like, that didn't happen. I think they were just sitting there being complacent and apathetic and snarky, worrying about memes, not.
Yeah, because Virginia's more like in the western part of the state is pro-gun, but the whole eastern part, like right down the middle. Yeah, the eastern part's anti-gun. And
well, they do say Virginia's for lovers, not for fighters or for shooters. They should change the thing that Virginia is for shooters. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. But if that's the case, then that would be interesting too. Because if he is over there using money to affect elections, that would seem more realistic to me, or more of less of a reach than a foreign government doing it out of nowhere. I mean, I guess foreign governments have interest in our elections, but I could totally see some rich guy screwing around. So, Guy is saying, we ever heard Mello barking? I've only ever heard Mello echoing. I've only heard Mello ever make noises maybe 3 times ever. Like, she doesn't make noises, and twice is like I stepped on her. Like, if you're not making her make a noise, she won't make a noise. She might have barked twice, but I'd have to. I should make note of it or something, because she barely makes noises. Sometimes I'll hear her go. If she wants to go out or something, if she really, really wants to go out, she'll stand behind me and make breathe. But the family that had her, that I stole her from, must have not been into dogs barking. Because aren't white dogs like that normally yappers? They howl and stuff, like that kind of dog, wolf-looking dogs, sled dogs and stuff. I thought they were chatty.
Yeah, they're vocal, but I wouldn't say more or less bark, like where she whines and stuff. I mean, they're a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like make noises and shit. But yeah, she doesn't ever. But she's basically just lays around all the time. She's mopey. At least VA did something. Did anything similar ever happen in California where they planned to pass gun control? Well, that's totally different, but you're right. So apples and oranges to some extent, because what do we say? There's 40 million people in California, 7 million gun owners. And in Virginia, there certainly ain't that many. Is there even 7 million people in Virginia? But also, Virginia is like the size of a county of California. But aside from that, you got Hollywood, you got industry in California, you got agriculture in California, you got an international border with Mexico in California that isn't just there, but it's also constantly an issue with labor and culture. You've got history in California. California has a pride that Virginia just ain't got. So, or in a different way, I guess, that Virginia just ain't got, or a diversity or a divide. I don't want to divide, but a diversity in California that I don't know if Virginia's got. The divide in Virginia, or the conflict or the tension in Virginia, would be like super conservative and less conservative. But like basically urban people, like people that hang out in Washington, D.C., go to Philadelphia, go to Florida, where California's got everything from farmers to old hippies to military, to big cities, to mining, to all different industry. California could live on its own. It's fucking one of the times it's been one of the largest economies in the world. Virginia is just a state. So there's differences, but I hear you that Virginia at least did something, I guess. But California, man, they get an onslaught of shit constantly, and trying to organize 7 million people to give a shit about, except for breathing. And can't think of too many things that 7 million people are going to agree upon. But you also have one state capital in Virginia that everyone can get to, and people can come from other states and get to it. You can't even get to the state capital in California from some extents of the state easily. At least it'd be a much longer drive than what they did in Virginia. And then, well, you couldn't have an armed rally in Virginia and California ever since the Black Panthers did it in 60 something, right?
Yeah.
But I hear you. I'm going to give everybody credit and whatever, some skepticism also. Hashtag we did something. Is Guy in Virginia
I'm not sure.
or New York? Did they ever have a massive rally before passing laws? Well, they had the first law. So the Sullivan Act happened with corrupt cops and corrupt politicians before anyone else. It was unprecedented. So that's unfair. It's apples and oranges again. New York, again, one of the largest cities on the planet. So I'm not giving them a give for that, but they're just different is all. But no, they haven't had any massive rallies that I'm aware of. They did have a New York rally planned, but it got postponed. It would be cool to see a New York uprising or upsurgence in firearms awareness and rights, but again, I don't see it. I mean, even Spider-Man, like there's nothing about New York that they get behind. The I love New York thing isn't universal, right? Like they don't like one sports team. Like there's nothing about New York. They'd like different pizzas probably. I don't think there's like a New York hot dog. Like it's just too many people to agree on something. So to get a consensus of them to even like something as divisive as guns, I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to win in a city. Is it better to just wall off the cities a la Judge Dredd, or maybe some hybrid between Judge Dredd and Escape from LA or New York or whatever? If since they're always acting like the rest of the world's the problem, and we know that the cities are really the problem, if the rest of the world just kind of looked at each other without really saying much and just agreed, nodded to each other, we have enough bricks. We could just build walls around all the stupid ass cities, let whatever happens inside them walls happen. And then we just go back to living our lives out here where it's normal.
Well, I mean, New York's an island anyway, so.
Yeah, it's perfect. Most of these places are stuck right next to the water. Just wall them off. You know, they'll paddle around or whatever they do. Something will happen, and we can live our lives. Maybe we can make some big domes. Take something like the Grand Canyon, just big hole wasting space, right? Fill it with sand. Not fill it, but fill the edges with sand. And then lightning bolt the shit out of it. Maybe launch a nuke into right in the middle of all that thing. And what you're going to get is a big glass dome. Like all that nuclear glass is going to happen. Big glass dome. Take that and take some big helicopters or whatever, flip it over. So now it's laying on the ground the way you want it with the dome underneath. Attach some helicopters to that. Take it over to LA, drop it. Do the same thing for what's nearby. I don't want to do it to Las Vegas because Las Vegas is cool. So you got one for LA, you do one for San Francisco,
Portland.
maybe one for Seattle. Portland? I don't know. Portland can be kind of cool.
Philadelphia.
Well, no, I'm thinking. Yeah, I was thinking Seattle. I'm sorry.
Salt Lake City's okay. St. Louis, you're probably getting a dome. Sorry. Chicago, dome. Detroit, dome. New York, dome. Actually, you're probably going to need 2 domes for New York. I need a bigger hole. But I don't know. Some sort of a dome. Maybe an accumulation of domes. Like a geodesic accumulation of them. DC, dome. Boston, dome. And then we're done. And then it's sort of like having an ant colony. You can go up and look in there, see what's happening.
Well, I mean, the domes will be clear. So, I mean, you just look in there, wave to whoever's in there.
Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to be interested in cleaning. Here's what you do. You take a magnet and you take like a magnet and you take a handkerchief or a towel or something. They were getting a weird feedback again. Take like a towel, like a hand towel and a strong magnet, and you wrap that strong magnet up in a towel, and then you set that on the one side of the glass, and then you put another magnet on the other side of the glass, and then that way you can just always clean it from the outside. I don't know what they're saying about Mellow. Oh, I think they're talking about they're just barely getting to the paper towel roll. Oh, snap. Did she do that on April 1st? Maybe she was pulling April Fools on me, and I don't even remember. Let me go look at the date on that thing.
Oh, there you go.
It happened on 4/7. No, there was no excuse. 4/7 isn't anything.
Yeah, I don't really celebrate April Fools. I celebrate the day because it was the day of my divorce. So
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that
yeah,
would be every
yeah,
once in a while, especially with the internet. Like, there's some good April Fool stuff. I can remember being in school growing up, and like every once in a while, there'd be like a teacher that cared about that kind of stuff, and they would do something. And then other years, it would be like such a letdown. You're like, dang it, like this teacher doesn't give a shit or whatever. But that was about it. And then for years, who gives a shit about April Fools? And then the internet happened, and ever since AOL, like I've been more interested in, because you see clever shit or something that's funny or something, something that some clever person does to their kid or some clever kid does to their parents or whatever, and it's. I just figured I was going to ask the other day, but we were chatting about something that just didn't come up. But yeah, it's not something I necessarily give all that much crap about. But every once in a while, there is something neat, and internet lets you share it pretty good. The good stuff.
yeah. Yeah, we my friends at work always, celebrate it. Happy Divorce Day.
Sounds like you should be buying yourself a gun every April 7th, just as a celebration.
With all your alimony winnings.
Yeah.
So, just saying, if it is the end times, I'm going to go take the M4 Sherman at the airport for a spin. So I just got to the part in Jericho where, well, I didn't just get to it, but there's that part in Jericho where some people come into town with a tank acting like the Marines, and then they figure out they're not the Marines, and they tell them to get the hell out of there, and they keep the tank.
Right.
And I haven't got to the part where they use the tank for nothing, but I remember that part being kind of cool. But in real life, you don't just have a tank like a car. I mean, it probably takes way more work, I'm assuming, to keep a tank going than a car.
With that and gas.
Well, that's the other thing. What do they make? Like 4 miles to the gallon is probably good mileage for a tank.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They go, oh, we're going to give you 80 gallons. I'm like, well, I guess 80 gallons would get you a couple of 100 miles, I guess, even if you were only getting 4 miles to the gallon. Let's see. So, and that would be an interesting discussion too. Now that people have had a little different taste of this, would some kind of rugged off-road vehicle be the thing to have, or would I think still a mountain bike is probably the best bug out vehicle, like a bicycle that has rugged tires and can, handle going up and down stairs or something. Maybe not up, but can go downstairs. I think that would be all you need. And then you could put a backpack on it if you needed to, or have a backpack on when you want to ride around on it, or put like a backpack on it and use it like what do they call that when you're kind of like having a pack horse or something, where you put the weight on the bike and you just drag the bike along with you.
Right.
Use it as a stretcher or something. But in times like this, you're not going to just drive to wherever you need to go. If you needed to get work done today, not just going to your jobs that are okay or whatever, but if you needed to make contact with something, do something, get something done, you need a bike that can go down alleys. You need a bike that can, stop and ditch behind a tree and let the patrol go by or something. You got to be able to get off the road and, look through over that hill over there to get around some place where you're not allowed to drive on the road. But people that thought you could have just some cool, even a van, even though vans are awesome, having some kind of souped up, camper van thing, you're going to go as far as the first roadblock. And then all you're going to do is get looted, right? People are going to go, oh, it's in that big ass cool van.
Yeah.
Everything awesome. Everything inside the van is awesome.
Man,
Now,
those e-bikes, those e-mountain bikes that were at the SHOT Show, those have been awesome.
I don't know. The ones that are electronic motors in them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had one to play with. All I've ever played with is a regular mountain bike that had like a motor module stuck on it, basically. So some batteries and a little motor.
Mhm.
Those are like real. Those are like basically like an electronic enduro almost. at least an electric moped that's a little bit ruggedized. But I don't know. That'd still be heavier than a regular old bicycle. The puppy fluff keeps the heat in. Exactly.
My dream bug out vehicle, I'd have to say, would be a fire truck.
Because of the ability to go anywhere and nobody would bother you, or because of the size, or something else?
Partly because of the size. Say you run into flooded roadways or something, the potential to be able to drive through without a lot of issue. A lot of them have the cabs completely enclosed now, where you could put your entire family in there. Say you got a tanker, then you could hold massive amounts of water and filter it as you needed for drinking and getting clean. Plus all the storage areas on it. So if you did want to keep something like a mountain bike or other weapons and things like that, you've got plenty of places to put everything.
That's interesting. So it makes me think like you've got the kinds that are, I want to call it like a Mack truck. You know, it ain't a full size truck. It ain't a pickup truck anymore. You know, it's like that medium size where you get something like that with like a big tank on the back. That might be like a rural fire truck or like a thing that just brings water to another fire truck. You know, something like that accomplishes what you're talking about. It's like probably 5 tons. You know, it's way bigger than a regular vehicle, but it wouldn't be as huge as like an engine, like a giant fire truck. But you could still get a lot of the compartments. But that's interesting. The idea of having a bunch of water with you. And you could bring a bunch of water in a regular vehicle, but it's going to have to either be tied down or somehow in tanks. Whereas a fire truck is literally designed around the fire, like the water. It's designed to take that giant mass and weight and move it around without ruining the machine. So
Yep.
that does make a lot of sense.
And the other thing,
not very many people are going to go like, if you acted like you knew where you were going, like, get out of my way, I'm in a fire truck. Most people are going to get the hell out of your way because you're in a fire truck.
and the other thing I was thinking about was you had mentioned roadblocks. Well, if you're in a fire truck, you know, those will regularly push stuff out of their way whenever they want.
Yeah, either they can, or like you say, like I was saying, that people will just move. Like they're like, oh, it's a fire truck. They're not a threat. Let them through.
Yep.
I like this one. So it's got the dude from. Okay, why can't I think of the name of the movie? From They Live, and he's got his sunglasses down, and it's a stimulus check from the Treasury. And then he puts his glasses back on, and it says, "Please don't riot." I've been looking at Instagram, or I've had an Instagram photo on the thing, and I just refreshed it to see if anything new had come up, and that's the new one that came up. But I flipped it back to Storm and Norman's ammo over here. It says 45 ACP. That doesn't look like 45. Is that 45?
Yeah, that one looked like it.
That looks more like 40, but okay. It just looks so narrow in these pics. Maybe it got elongated a little bit. Looks more like a 40 in these pictures to me. But it's not like I look at ammo every day. I'm going to go back to Fine Ape's comment that I've had on the screen here. Don't know how much you care for early 80s animation, but check out Rock and Rule. It's free on YouTube. Got some awesome art. I don't know anything about that. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Early 80s.
Can't say I do.
So, Rock and Rule. Okay, it looks like that one video game that has the sword, and it was like a cartoon video game instead of being regular graphics. Dragon something maybe? Dragon Master?
Oh, Dragon Slayer?
Dragon Slayer. It looks like that mixed with heavy metal, mixed with something else that I can't picture. But Okay. You know what? This reminds me a little bit of Babylon AE. You seen that cartoon?
Mhm.
Which is sort of like sci-fi, I guess. I mean, it is sci-fi. It's sort of like heavy metal a little bit, but it sort of reminded me of that type of animation. I've seen a couple of things that there's like that really cool show about the toys that made us, and they have great access. They get in and talk to the people that design like GI Joes or Star Wars figures and all that kind of cool stuff, and like Barbies and all this, and even watching the like Barbie and the I don't know the stuff that you wouldn't think would be as interesting, Care Bears or something or My Little Ponies was still interesting because at least for me watching the thing from like some of the inventors or the business people and just their thoughts at the time and their perspective on toys and stuff. And then you hear them talking about G.I. Joe and Star Wars and stuff that we played with. And then you hear them, the same people built up Barbies and everything. So it's, hear them talk about these other toys and stuff. It's always kind of interesting. But I don't know where I was going with that one, so I'll keep going. I was going to say something about heavy metal, I think, but too many things on the screen. Saying that big yappers, huskies, especially Chatty, she must not have much husky in her. I'm still not figuring out. Somebody said something about her being a Swiss Shepherd or some shit like that. She might not even be a husky. And Smeggy's dog looks just like her, but with a black nose. So I'm thinking maybe she is something else, and it just looks a lot like a husky. You hear about Governor of California referring to California as a nation state. You know what's bothering me is maybe it's just me tuned into it, but I keep hearing them talk about representatives as lawmakers. I'm so sick of hearing the word lawmaker all the damn time from every angle. It's like they made it a priority to reinforce that they're lawmakers. Cities will wall themselves. I don't know about that. But I don't think we should wait. We should just wall up the cities. Pretty sure San Francisco has more pooping in public streets than all of Virginia combined. West Virginia would depend on if it's the weekend. That's true. Well, there's like intentional pooping because it's your right and you can't stop me. And then like if you're drunk and things happen. What was all this about? Long Beach, Orlando? I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, they're talking about what cities to wall or dome over.
Oh, that's probably a good point. Long Beach, California? No. Or is that where Escape from LA was? I wonder how big the wall was. I'll have to go back and watch that movie now that I've driven around LA a couple of times as an adult. I wonder where they put that wall. LA would be tough because LA is big. It isn't anywhere. Even it takes you like an hour just to drive across LA at night when there's nobody on the road. Like it's big. I'll bet you if you stuck LA and is LA as big as between Phoenix and Tucson? Zoom out. For whatever reason, whenever you open up Google Maps, it's like, here, let's show the world where your house is. I mean, it's almost that big. If you went from like Irvine, where Cal Wesco was down here, and who was made in Irvine? I think Jennings moved to Irvine, and I don't think I went to that. No, we did go to this one. It was the other ones. Maybe it was Jennings. Anyway, I think this is as far south as some of the Ring of Fire factories, and then the other one is way the hell up here. This is Sundance was way up here, and then they went out as far as Rancho Cucamonga, I think, like somewhere out by San Bernardino. So that whole big triangle was the Ring of Fire. And if I zoom out and look between Tucson and Phoenix, like I'm using my fingers because I can't do it, but that's a pretty good chunk of all the way between Tucson and Phoenix. And it can take me an hour to an hour and a half of just driving 75 miles an hour. So LA is huge. I don't know how you would put a wall up around LA, but it would be obviously easy compared to one of the largest international borders that they insist on putting a wall on down here. It'd be a lot easier to put it around LA. But out here, it's like kind of cliffy. Like there's some beach, but it goes pretty much straight up. Like the water goes straight up to mountains or hills. And then there's this like ring of hills, and that's where the Hollywood sign is. And then it comes down to this little valley, and then it goes back up into hills. So I guess you could wall it off here somewhere, go up to the top of the mountains and cut off all the roads, and then go across here. And that would be from like the Hollywood sign across to whatever this is, and then put a wall there, and then come across here. And that's where Heavy used to live and where Tactical Outfitters is, and put a wall across here. And then this is a big mountain, so you could just put a wall across here, although this is huge. And then a wall across here, and I've never been down in here yet. So maybe with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls, 6 walls maybe, you could wall off Los Angeles to the height of the mountains. And then these people wouldn't be able to get out, because that would be like climbing up a mountain, a wall that's the height of a mountain. And then you could put a big tower on Catalina Island and watch the whole thing. Is that what they did in that movie?
I don't know.
That's what I would do. Put a giant tower up here and watch this whole area. So now we got the map open. We can do 2 things. We can look at that map more, or we could look at the comments. I guess we'll look at the comments. But I was going to ask Pink, as soon as I opened this map, I was thinking, I should ask Pink where he's going next. Like, as soon as this quarantine is over, and you're able to do something, where are you going? What adventure are you going on?
Probably nothing. Nothing right now, because I had to cancel the Nashville. But
Had to cancel
because of NRA. That was my next adventure, so.
Yeah, I'm saying the next one, though, when it's over.
It
Sky's the limit. Burger's
Sky's-
paying for it.
Trail of 100 Giants.
Oh, where you wanted to go in California and couldn't because you were scared to go up the mountain? Or no, they wouldn't let you go up the mountain.
Yeah.
So that's over here between, let's see, you left Vegas and you went to Bakersfield?
Go. I think it was up straight up that ridge, right in the middle there. Where. Yep.
Oh, Enchilada or whatever, Ridgecrest?
I think it was up through that way.
Okay, I know you came kind of down Barstow, but then
Yeah.
instead of going to LA, cut across. Now that
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been neat too, because this area, Palmdale and Lancaster, is supposed to be where they like test fly everything, and there's all the airplane stuff up in this area. So you were just kind of north of all that. I don't know. I'm hoping to see I'm waiting to see what the 2A rallies are going to look like. The only thing we know is there's going to be a second DC rally now. Instead of being a one-time thing, it's a yearly thing. So there's going to be a second DC rally. That'll be in, I don't remember, but they gave us a date for that. I think it's in October this year.
Yeah, it's in October.
We know gun rights policy is in September in Florida, but I was listening to Polite Society talk to Alan Gottlieb the other day, and they were making it sound like gun rights policy might be virtual. So instead of getting together and networking and collaborating and, evolving, we're going to turn it into a fucking chat. Maybe it won't happen. But anyway, that's going to be in September in Orlando or I think it's Orlando or Tampa. All of Florida looks the same to me. But anyway, so I'd like to do some sort of 2A trip again. I've got, by the time I could travel again, unless something changes, I will have had more chance to dig into my museum projects. So I'll have more awareness of what museums I need to hit. But I think I still have museums in all 4 corners of the country. I'd definitely like to get up to the New England and see all the museums and origin stories, Colt and Smith and Wesson, and pretty much a whole shit ton of them come from the Northeast, right? But then Florida's got a ton of gun stuff too. So I could go east and go either way. There's still stuff to see in Chicago. there's all kinds of stuff to see up here that I haven't seen before. I'm kind of bored of looking at stuff in Arizona and New Mexico, but I can still make do. And Texas is huge, so there's a ton of places that I'm interested in going. I still haven't gotten eat west almost at all, so we need to just blow through Vegas and go up here for a while, come back for SHOT Show or something. All right, we'll go back to comments. So that was a little bit of map action. You never know what you're going to get at, what, 4 in the morning? 3 in the morning? People start waking up.
The Northwest was awesome. I mean, it was beautiful country.
I went up there when I was a kid, and we were kind of doing what we felt like, and that's a whole other story. Actually, shit, I shouldn't have said that because now I'm thinking about all kinds of stuff we did back in the day. But yeah, that was a lot of fun going up there as a youngin'. But we were like 18 or 19. Like I couldn't even drink yet. We went to Canada so we could drink. Because we were that young. But I don't know. My only problem with going up that direction is I don't think there's that much empty places. Maybe I'm wrong. But it seems like going back east where it gets populated. And for me, at least, I got to drive through a lot of wilderness to get to where it's populated. I'd go visit up there, but I think I'd enjoy Oregon or something more than Washington. It just seems like it was already populated the last time I drove through it in the 90s. It's got to just be way more populated now, right?
There's a lot of wilderness.
Well, there is, but it's like you can't just go to it. It's sort of like wilderness in Texas. Like it's over there, but you can't go to it because there's people who live between here and there. Like in Arizona, I'm just used to like drive to the end of that road and it's our land. You can do whatever you want there. Everybody owns it. It's just, that's all. So, and California would be no fun because you could go to cool places and not do anything. So you can't even be armed. So that would be shitty. And I would think, I don't know, I would like to go up to Canada. I spent some time in Canada on Vancouver Island. And I've heard interesting stuff from Bob about Vancouver and just watching stuff on whatever about Vancouver. So I could handle like leaving the van or something in America and going and Ubering up into Canada or something. What's the deal if you drive your own vehicle into Canada? Is that a problem? Maybe I could just take the van to Canada. I'm used to going into Mexico and I wouldn't take the van to Mexico. I'm afraid they would take it apart coming back in. But if it's not crazy coming back into America from Canada, then I guess I could drive the van in Canada. Never thought about going international.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with having to have a passport and everything, just
oh, you have to have a passport to go to Canada now?
Yeah. I thought you did.
I mean, I'd have like a level of superstar status, so I probably wouldn't have to pay for much. But still, I don't know if it's worth getting a passport.
Because you have to have a passport now just to go on those cruises.
To Alaska, you mean?
Well, like Bahamas and stuff like that.
Pretty soon we're going to have like a passport or like a virus passport that'll tell us what country we're from, but more importantly, if we're a carrier and what we're a carrier of.
Yeah, because this year I got to get the new state ID that allows me to fly.
Okay, so AK, wait a minute, what? We did miss AK-47 day. Dang it. I can't believe that in AKpril, no one has ever come up with that before. Have you ever seen anybody come up with AK or AK day on 4/7?
Nope.
Holy moly. And think about how many times Smeggy has come around talking about AKpril.
Yep.
None of that has ever come up. You just said a new thing. You just created a new thing. If there was a gun channel still, that would have been a thing. But there's no more gun channels, so it's just going to vaporize. It's sort of like a hologram version of a thing. Like, back in the day, it would have actually become a thing. It would have materialized, but now that there's no more gun channels, it's just a hologram of it.
It's like it's made out of chocolate, and with
Oh, yeah.
summer coming up, it's just
But
gonna
Knives is going to wake up and it's gone. You'll see maybe a bite mark of it, and then it'll be gone. Or like you're saying, like it'll just get warm out and be just a big blob. So I'm watching this thing called The Devil's Pass from 2013. Anybody seen it?
Devil's
For some reason that made me think of that. It's a movie about a girl who gets some dudes together. They go to Russia to investigate some hikers who disappeared in the 50s. So in the 1950s, some hikers go off into the mountains of Russia and never come back. And then they go up and find them and they're all dead. And then, whatever, recently now, this movie's made in 13, these 5 kids go to make like a video, sort of like a what's that name of the movie? The Witch Chronicles or whatever. Camcorder movie. Anyway, something, if you haven't seen it, then it doesn't make sense that I was going to bring something up there. Because I don't remember Matt ever talking about it, called Devil's Pass. I don't recognize anybody in it, though, so I don't know if it would have been a big budget or not. I would be awfully tempted to fly one of the P-51, I don't know what that is, B-25, to where? Where's he talking about?
I would want to wreck it.
I remember what we were talking about. We're way behind at this point. That's a comment from about a half an hour ago. So yeah, we've been all over the place. 8 people are watching. It's got to be, if it is midnight here, and it's 1 a.m. here, so that means it's like 4 in the morning for sure over there.
Yep.
So I can't imagine. Could be listening to this train wreck. This is better than a train wreck, though. This is more like what it is. That one has been going around for a bit. All I know is whoever said a single person can't change the world never ate a bat. I like how everyone discounts the possibility of getting superpowers by almost dying.
Ooh.
What the hell was I watching now?
We all be Batman. Because when we get bat powers.
Oh, what was I watching?
Everybody be walking around going, I'm Batman. No, I'm Batman. No, I'm Batman.
Dang it, I can't remember if it's in Jericho or not. If you've all seen Jericho, maybe you'll recall this, but there was something I'm watching, and it could have been Jericho in the first episode of Jericho, where it might be the first episode of Jericho where there's like a bus full of kids that leaves town, and they're one of the missing parties. And so that becomes one of the storylines in the first episode. And then eventually this guy comes and finds the bus. But there was another thing that I was watching that had kids in it. So it could have been that. But anyway, there's this thing where a guy gets shot or something happens to somebody, something traumatic happens to somebody, and they literally fall over and die, basically. And then there's a bunch of kids that see all this. And then there's like the teacher or whatever. And then I can't remember what it was. I think I can almost remember what it was now, but it's not coming to me. But anyway, the something traumatic happens to somebody else, and then the teacher's standing there, and the kid's standing there, little kid standing there, and the little kid goes, like, teacher, is that person going to be okay? Will they ever wake up? And then the teacher goes, yeah, they'll be okay. And I think lightning had hit the person. And then the kid goes, the kid goes, the teacher, is that person ever going to wake up? And the teacher's like, yeah, they'll wake up. And then the kid goes, with superpowers? And it was a serious movie, so that's why it was super funny, because it was appropriate, because a kid would say something like that probably, but it wasn't like a comedy movie, so you weren't expecting it, and it was great. And then the teacher was like, oh my goodness, like, let's get you out of here. Like, you shouldn't be witnessing all this. Like, this is not for you. Anyway, that. It's also 3 a.m. for me, or 1 a.m. for me over here. So, oh wait, what am I saying? This is like 9 a.m. Actually, I just woke up. So I guess I can't blame it on being loopy. So that is true. That but I also like to, I don't know if we're playing around or what, but I like to bring it back to seriousness. But I don't think people are discounting the possibility that hard times like this make hard people. Like make hard times like this create evolution of stuff. Nobody sits around and figures out a better way to be protected from a virus until you get whaled on by a virus. So I know we're kidding around or whatever, but I think we're going to see, we got the potential of seeing some really cool stuff come out of this whole thing. Let's see. The airport fire trucks are awesome. They are, but here's the thing. You can't just drive an airport fire truck out in the middle of the desert. People are going to be like, sure, you're in a fire truck, but what's going on here? Regular old fire truck or like kind of a rural fire truck? Like you could be driving a rural fire truck into a city to assist. You can be driving a rural fire truck out to rescue someone in the nowhere. No one's going to question that. I would say even potentially an ambulance would be along those lines. It doesn't have the water like you're talking about, but there is water on board. And because it's a commercial vehicle, it's all ruggedized and strong. It's probably got, its best potential to clear out some of those containers or to put something like maybe under the like under this body of it or something, like some sort of a built-in water tank or maybe multiple water tanks. Something else that a large vehicle offers that I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but would be, the ability to collect rain. Depending on where you're at, collecting rainwater is cool. And if you just had a little tiny car or bicycle, good luck collecting rain. But if you got something like a fire truck or a school bus and you just put some gutters on it that didn't just pour off, that collected, you could probably collect some decent water just driving down the road in the rain even.
That's an awesome idea. I didn't even think about that.
I was thinking 2.5.
Well, a deuce and a half, but again, like you drive a deuce and a half up into the someplace, and I've just been watching Jericho, so I'm super aware. Like I'm basically an expert in prepping now. If you drive a deuce and a half up into some places, some people are gonna look at you like, "Hey, thanks for giving us a deuce and a half." Like you may or may not live after this, but I'm keeping that deuce and a half. If it's something like a school bus or a fire truck, they might still want the commodity, but it might not be as much of a no-brainer. Like I'm just going to kill these people and take that cool Hummer. Heavy Metal, good movie. Titan AE, similar. I watched some movie called 9. Is it called 9? For the first time. I never watched it before, and it's like I think it's animation or it's obviously computer something, and it's some dude I guess makes these little critters out of burlap and metal, whatever they call it, clockwork. So it's sort of like a little steampunk cartoon. You ever seen this one? It's old, I think.
Yeah, I know what it is.
They talk? I think they do talk to each other, or else they think at each other or something. But they're just these little interesting little hacky sack critters that run around. And there's some mouse or some cat that's trying to get them. Anyway, that one was kind of neat. But that wasn't quite animation like regular animation. Now, American Pop, I don't know. I don't think of that one. I never watched this one. The 5-0 Goes West. That seemed like a little kid movie to me. Is that worth watching?
I don't know.
That's too little kid of a movie. Like Titan AE is a cartoon, but it's like watching, I don't know, like watching what's that word? It'd be like watching Stargate or something. Like it's a regular science fiction story. It's not like made for kids or nothing. Or Who Framed Roger Rabbit is more for everybody. Secret of NIMH, that's a kid movie, right? These are little kids movies.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do you imagine drugs being smuggled from Mexico to USA? It's the same thing for maple syrup coming from Canada. Oh my goodness. In other words, they'll take like normally if you're going to take like heroin and mule it into the United States, you're going to take like a balloon, right? And you're going to fill it up with heroin and you'll tie a knot, and then you'll probably push that into another balloon, tie a knot, shove that into another balloon, tie a knot. Now you got 3 levels of balloon. You swallow that thing, you got like a big wad of heroin in you, and then poop that out or whatever. And I guess you sell that heroin on the street, poop heroin. And then, but with syrup, you'd have to take like a balloon for making balloon animals, just start swallowing it, and then start filling it up with maple syrups. and then finish swallowing it, that seems way more uncomfortable. Yeah, never think about that kind of stuff. But the thing is, with maple syrups, you could just have like a long garden hose, throw it in a lake, like right through the middle underneath the lake. They could be pumping, have like a long garden hose, go into the lake in Canada. You could put some grass or something on top of it. No one would even see it. Now it goes under the lake, and then it comes back out the American side. Again, put some grass or a rock or something on it. No one will even see the hose coming out of the lake. And then you could literally just pour it. And since Canada is higher than us because of the earth, you could just literally let it pour down. Gravity would let it pour into the United States. Unregulated, that kind of a leakage. I'm surprised we haven't lost some of the northern states to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same principle as Niagara Falls, right?
Yeah.
Canada's taller than us. We're under them. So we get all their stuff. We use that for power. We could probably Niagara Falls that syrup, make power and syrup out of it.
Depends on how thick it is.
That's true. If it's like if it's too thick, then you can still do it. They just have to push harder. They just can't let gravity do it. They just have to push. And luckily, we have from the Gun Channels days, we've got Flath, who's an expert in Canadian pumping.
Yeah.
Pipe pushing. Tube boring. Let's see. So in APASAN in 50, the P51 and the B25 thing was if end time's going down to the museum at the airport. Oh, I see. Driving home, one of them. I watched there's a new platform, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it's supposedly a video hosting platform for documentaries and videos that are not monetizable enough on YouTube, either because of politics or their subject matter. So it's a platform that's just all documentaries, and I guess they're all nice too, like well made. And they like right now, like I say, I've been fiddling with the logarithm on YouTube, telling it I don't like stuff constantly so that it keeps trying to give me stuff. And it was one of the things they desperately tried to give me, I guess, is like airplane videos, movies about like World War II planes or the history of some seaplane or just weird airplane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to, or some place was trying to sell me on, I think you have to buy a subscription like Hulu or something to this documentary platform. And in trying to get you to buy the subscription to it, they show you some of the documentaries. And they're really good. Like they're, I think, better than History Channel stuff. I just can't remember the name of it to recommend it. But anyway, I was watching something about the P-38. Is that the one with the twin tails, I guess, or the twin bodies, and the pilot sits in the middle? And I never really paid attention to that plane. And it was a really neat show. I mean, like I say, I really haven't paid attention to that plane, and that plane was hardcore. It was a pretty cool plane. But I don't know the P-51, which is probably some other fighter. And I probably know B-25, but not off the top of my head. 3 a.m., wherever the George is. They could be driving the airport fire truck out in the middle of nowhere and search and recovery for downed aircraft. That's an interesting point. That's a good point. Running away from the thing that caused the apocalypse. They run away from like that red ball, that red glowing eye thing. I forgot. I don't even think I watched the end of the movie. I'm like really bad at watching movies. If I get 3/4 into a movie and I got to go do something else and come back here, if I don't remember what I was watching, I'll just watch something else. Like I don't have I could care less. I just watch stuff that's interesting. I like movies that are visually interesting. Like, what's that one? Sucker Punch. Is that the one with the girls? I don't think I know what that movie's about. I just leave it run because it's like every 5 minutes, it's a different weird thing happening on the screen. Like it's, the girls figure out a new reason to dress up a different way, and now they're attacking some other steampunk wizard or whatever the hell they do. So I don't even know how that movie ended. So there was some kind of red eyeball, I think. And then is that Nebula, Curiosity, or Periscope? Oh. All of those sound familiar now, dang it. And I've been watching a lot of Smarter Every Day, and that's a huge YouTube channel. So I can't even imagine. I usually don't watch big YouTube channels, but they must love it. The logarithm must love it when I watch a big YouTube channel. So I can't even imagine the stuff that comes out from that guy, because he's probably connected to something like a thing that would show documentaries. It was here, if this helps, it was one that was, you would buy a subscription to some other platform and it gave you access to the documentaries, which is another reason why I was skeptical about it. It seemed weird that there was two platforms. This is a commercial for platform 1. All you got to do is join platform 2 and you get a subscription to platform 1 for free. And platform 1 is so great that we're not even going to mention platform 2 other than to say you need a subscription over there. It's like, that was the weirdest commercial ever. And it was something like, platform 2 is like Gunstreamer, and platform 1 is like documentary channel. And you can't just post videos on documentary channel. You have to be invited. So it was sort of like if Full 30 and Gunstreamer merged. And if you join Gunstreamer for money, you can watch everything on Full 30 for free. It was something.
Okay.
Then those two are not connecting. I'm just using those as. We're 3 hours in. At this point, I think we're just rubbing salt in the wound. We started this show with the like, hey, we're gonna chat for an hour. I even say that. I literally say that at the beginning. And then an hour in, everybody's like, dang it, I'm suckered into this. I was told it was gonna be an hour. I'll just wait till the end. And that's when we get you. Then that's the second hour. Then it's like, now you're like, I'm sore and this hurts and I don't like it anymore. And that's when we get you for the third hour. And then it's just abrasive. It's unnecessary and it's cruel. Got these sore hot spots and we're just rubbing on them to create heat friction and blisters. So now that we've thoroughly made you uncomfortable, I hope you enjoy your weekend. Basically, you're all going to fall asleep now and wake up in the afternoon on Saturday. You're going to lose your whole Saturday. So you're welcome. Family's going to hate you because you didn't hang out and watch the thing that was supposed to be done. You're welcome. That's going to make for a miserable Saturday evening. And you're going to be all miserable and cranky on Sunday. And by Monday, nobody's going to want to be around each other, which makes some prime viewing potential for the Monday Daily Gun Show. So this is all engineered to, your lives are going to suffer, but our views are going to go up a small increment, and it's worth it for us on this end for that. So thanks for being part of that. Apologize to your families ahead of time, but it's a price to pay. Like I said, I'm watching Jericho now, so I'm completely familiar with how to engineer the end times. My advantage to profit off of it. Let's see. Nebula is the Cervic Isaac author of something Pimps Out. I don't know who that is or who that is. Periscope is archiving a lot of stock films. Okay, so it's not that one. I think I know what that one is now. And they have a lot of stuff that's old Army stuff. I've heard of that, and it's not that. This is stuff that's the documentaries I've been watching have been on YouTube, but they've been produced by something, and it's not the History Channel, which is normally where you see a good documentary, that they put some effort into. Watching stuff on the History Channel is like the History Channel production studio, so it all kind of has the same flavor. It all has the same effect. It all is the same, and they all use the same stock photos. This new stuff is different. It's YouTubers and people that know how to use like Blender, the software packages that let you do interesting stuff on the screen. So they're not like restricted to what they were shown in film school. They're playing around with whatever's available now and actually doing some interesting visual stuff. So the infographics and stuff like that have been amazing. I don't know what you're posting on the inside over there.
Oh, it's a couple links to. I'll talk about it later.
Okay, but look how lame the El Pato is. I can't even click on these. I have to like copy and paste the link. Stupid El Pato. Or no, wait, Stupito El Pato. Is that how you say it? I work nights, so my hours are messed up. Don't even get me started. I don't even know when day or night is anymore. But I mean, I'm getting a project out of it. I wrote a whole book, I think. I didn't write it. I spent a week putting together a book. And tomorrow's Saturday, so I'm going to have to go to the place and get my ink so that I have it for Sunday. But I bought a bunch of paper and I bought some new inks. I'm going to refill the ink cartridges that I got and see how many things I can print. But basically, this is getting my skills up so that I can start cranking out books. But I got books in me. So I'll be cranking out some more and more and more stuff as I get the flow of it. Remember back when I used to do videos? I can do videos faster than other people because I'm not hindered by their issues or whatever. So I think it's going to be the same way once I can start writing some books. And I think I figured out a way to do it so that I don't have to wait to get everything printed and published either. So we'll see. So there might be some interesting shit coming on the horizon through all this from my end. I've been trying to kill this fly all night. Oh. These flies are stubborn as shit though. Like I just smashed this fly into this hat and he was alive on my freaking hat. And then I smashed him into the ground. The fucker hit the ground like a BB and bounced. He didn't even hit the ground again. He bounced off the floor and just flew away. Effing fly. I smashed him like 3 times during the show too. And this last time I got him so bad that he was like stunned on my hat. I went like that. He hit the ground and just flew away. Fucker. Made out of like steel.
That's probably one of the. Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably one of those futuristic, cyborg.
Drones.
Yeah, drones.
Yeah. That's how they keep track of me. So now we know that it's definitely early because Black Cat's out. There's waking up out there. Yeah, 3 hours, 16-minute chat. That's how we roll on a Friday night. I have to because in the mornings or when I start the show normally at midnight, I'm being corked from like all angles. I've been corked like 3 different ways from Sunday on this show before, even though I'm established, even though this show is in its 1060th episode. The hell episode are we on?
Yeah,
1060 episodes, and there's still people out there with the balls to cork me on a Friday night. So this is like the opposite of corking. This is where you start an hour late and then you run for 3 hours. It's devastating to the audience, but I've already mentioned I don't care at all about you people. This is all about the numbers for me. So yeah, I ruined a bunch of people's family lives during a time of crisis, but my numbers went up a small amount, and I take that as a victory. Well, let's see. I recorded 45 minutes of video on holsters last night. Went to edit it, and my mic must have crapped out. You tell me about it. This thing is a mic, as a USB mic I paid $50 for, and something about something. I don't know what it is, so I'd fix it. But yeah, I'll do the same thing. I'll be recording something. I'll think it's fairly decent, and then it'll come in like a... And there's nothing I can do to like increase the volume. It sounds horrible. And the worst is that unless you're reading off a script, you're like, dang it, and I got to remember like the whole dang thing to speak, say the whole dang thing again. But I usually have to, what I'll do is restart my computer so that it starts up with the mic plugged in and everything, and hopefully that works better. But yeah, I know I feel that. Anti-quirking? That's a good point. It's like antibiotics, except for workers. All right, well, with that, it is 3 hours, 18 minutes in, and that's a good time to stop for 2A, because it's kind of like, it's not like anything. It's 10 over 308, and it's 20 less than 338. So it's not a caliber, but we're stopping anyway. Foss is just waking up or getting on break. But yeah, we're still going. That's the kind of chat it's been tonight. So again, thanks everybody for participating. I didn't do a free patch Friday, but a bunch of people still bought stuff. I think we had 3 different sales, including 4 if I count the one from yesterday, where somebody bought the second print of the Shooter's Almanac. So that'll all go out in the morning. Yeah, I needed to go pick up my ink anyway, so that's what I'll do. Is I'll be going out and catching the virus tomorrow. Appreciate that. And so either we'll be back on Monday with the ratings surge that I've engineered this weekend, or I'll die of the Rona, in which case we'll have a very long commemorative daily gunshot. But yeah, thanks, Berger, for jumping in. And want to say anything on the way out?
No, just Again, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it. And thanks for being a Patreon. That's how you got in. I dropped a link over on the Patreon. This was 8 hours worth of Patreon chatting today. 5 hours in the middle of the day on Friday as I was working. I think I talked about it before. I had put something together, was about to print it, and then I realized that I put it all together in the wrong proportion, like the wrong format. I folded the paper too many times. So I had to just reformat this 58-page book. So I was really just moving things around, and I knew I'd be doing that for a while. So I went live. We went live on Gun Chamber, so I'd say guntube.org's chamber, and that let us go live without being broadcast anywhere. So that let me just play the episodes of Jericho. I don't even know, 5 hours worth of them. So that had to be like 4 or 5 episodes of Jericho. There were people in. Some people would just listen. Some people would interact and chat. I don't think we ever had more than one person in at a time, but it worked out pretty neat. I got my stuff done. I guess I was a little distracted, but not much more than if you were at work and somebody came by and asked you something or was chatting with somebody while you were doing some chore. I got my stuff accomplished, so I'll probably do that in the future. If you are a Patreon, I'm not doing those scheduled or anything, just kind of keep a lookout. And yeah, thanks, Berger, for jumping in, taking the link. Pink, I guess you did the same way. I didn't send any links today. So
Yeah.
thanks for supporting our projects. And yeah, I guess with that, thanks again for jumping in. We'll be back to pick up later. It's hard to end these things.